Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that means Vince needs to move his mic closer up to his face. Hey, how's everybody doing? Tyler, welcome back. I'm here as always with my co-host Tyler. He's back. Is he back all the time? That's your next question. The answer, probably not. But is he back for today? That's right. So just be happy with what you got. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. It's good philosophy for this time of year, Vince. Be happy with
Absolutely.
what you got. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't right now we're just celebrating you being here and here at this most wonderful time of the year. Do you mean Vince, do you mean Christmas? Do you mean Hanukkah? Do you mean the winter solstice? No. No. I mean the time when we get a giant battle scroll that drops and gives us a whole bunch of changes to the game. That's what I mean, my man. That's the most wonderful time of the year. So that's what we're going to be digging into tonight. The new meta that's going to evolve out of this giant battle scroll. It is a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would say let's start with some news. But here's the trick. There's no news other than this battle scroll. And we're going to do that in a minute. So just so we don't literally only spend 1 minute on this, Tyler.
Sure.
What's been going on with you lately? Let's just talk about, instead of news, let's just do a little you got in some games recently? What have you done?
Yeah, it's been a good year. So I think as you know, dude, this was the first year that I got somewhat serious about competitive AOS.
Yep.
My friend Travis has got me looking at ITC because he won't shut up about it. And yeah, my brain has started to care about ITC a little bit. So that's been interesting. Soul Blight was really good, right? And I played them forever. Even after their fifth nerf, they were still really good. And then that came into Stormcast. Stormcast have been amazing. So yeah, been playing a lot. Had a couple of RTTs, did really well with interesting Stormcast list. I thought it was interesting. Wish I could say more on hobby, I guess. Are we doing hobby?
We'll
That'll be
get to
my
hobby.
hobby.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We're not there
We'll
yet.
wait.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
But yeah,
Yeah, for
been
me,
playing
it's
well.
been good. I'll talk a little bit about where I was this weekend when we get to hobby time. That was the other thing I was going to do, which was bring up this thing. We'll get
Mm-hmm.
there in a second. But the I did get this battle scroll a little early, and so I got a chance to actually play a couple games with this battle scroll. And so I will say I got 2 games in. Won one, lost one. 50-50 ratio. I'll take it. Played the same army both times, New Skaven army, and I really did feel the impact of the battle scroll. I will say it made a
Yes.
very meaningful impact to the way the game played out uh, both times. Although maybe not as much as in some ways, maybe not as much as was hoped. So
Hmm.
Gareth says you need to get yourself to LVO, Tyler. What's the story on that? Do you feel like going to Vegas in January?
Yeah, I've never been to LVO. Have you?
Nope, nope. I,
Oh,
I
look
already
at
have to
us.
travel a bunch in January for work at the beginning of the year, so it always conflicts.
Yeah, I do need to get out there one year. I don't think it's going to be this year. I've got a lot of work going on that month, but and I'm doing Nashville teams. Get my butt out to Polcastro and David since I missed NashCon this year,
Nice.
as I heard a lot about. So yeah, that'll be good. Brendan and I and some others are going to get together for that. I think you were invited and you gave us the finger. That's all right. You're busy. You
Correct.
got
No,
you
I
got
literally
it.
had something else going on that weekend, so yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's all good. But
Uh,
yeah, I do need to get out there.
oh, soothsayer, don't worry. We're gonna get into those takes. We're gonna get into all the big stuff. Okay, so now that we've given a few minutes for everybody to join in, we talked about our personal news. We can just roll right into a little pick of the week in record time because everybody is burning up the charts, wanting us to get to that battle scroll. As we roll on here to pick of the week, hey, hit like, hit subscribe, and don't forget that super chat's there if you want to, toss some money into the Get Tom a New Microphone Fund. This is basically your last week to do so. We're at the end of it. I have to order Tom's microphone tomorrow, so it'll be here by Christmas or whatever. But there you go. So, hey, much appreciated as always. Anybody who throws anything in the show or just likes or subscribes or does any of those things, or just leaves us on in the background, just put on the playlist on your computer and then go to work for the day. I don't care. That's great. Thank you. Appreciate that too. That's all super nice. Anyway, Tyler, what do you got for picks of the week this week, buddy?
Picks of the week. So, Hammer of War is back, an excellent battle report channel. It's been around for a while. They do Season of War style bat reps. So I just wanted to give David and them a shout out. I love their bat reps. And then my buddies at Austin Weird Knobs events, they surprised me at Vault Wars with something. I haven't had a chance to show this off on the show.
Uh-oh.
So tonight's the night. This thing. So they have
I have no idea what we're about to see, folks.
a small company called BattleWerks, works with an E, battleworks.com.
It's linked down in the description.
Yeah, they do many awesome things, but the best thing that they do is this amazing measuring tool set. Now, I've showed off a tool set before. I gotta say, this one takes the cake. So look at what Jeff and them did, buddy.
Okay, look at this.
You
my God, it's your little guy. You got your little sprite on the top.
Okay, now I'm gonna put Jeff on the spot tonight as well. Okay, there'll be a follow-up here to this. So Tom and you are not missing out.
Look at this.
So, all these lovely things.
Wow.
Multiple 9s, 6s, 5s. So Jeff and I are going to get Tom and you one of these.
What now? What is this now?
As soon as Jeff can get to it. And this will be me actually getting you guys a Christmas present for once.
Well, unnecessary but completely awesome. That is gorgeous,
Yeah,
and I love the little guy on top. That's adorable.
Yeah, so of course we'll do the same for you guys with yours. And
amazing.
if you have a color request, let me know.
I don't
same with
know.
Tom.
Pink or teal is probably good for me as always. So
I heard cyan. Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard you're a fan of this. Yeah.
Anywhere in that range is fine. You can't go wrong.
But
no,
yeah,
that's
this
awesome.
thing they're selling this thing way too cheap. It's like $45, and the other competitive ones out there that I've seen are much higher than that. And it's just amazing. So yeah, thanks Jeff. Appreciate it, bud.
That is super awesome. Yes. Truly amazing. That BattleWorks is linked down below. So if you're interested in picking up your own set, check it out. Not a sponsor, just something we think is cool. Speaking of things we think are cool, hey, look, if you want to get in some more old world content, but we're not covering enough old world for you, because admittedly we don't talk about it as much as perhaps I'd like, but there's been a lot of focus on AOS. Strength Hammer, our good buddy Chuck, he's got a nice Empire of Man discussion over on his channel for those Empire fans. That's where I originally got in the game. Before I was a Skaven player, at the very beginning, I was an Empire player. Many guest range cannons being put on the table by me. So, at any rate, go check that out. As well, something completely different. Tyler, this is a video I'm going to share with you after. I mean, it's in the description, so you can just go click on it in the video. But I wanted you to watch this video specifically. I saw this video and I thought of you. Okay. So this is from a smaller channel called Distraction Makers. And I've liked a couple of their things they did recently. It popped up on my feed, and I was like, well, what a name. What a wonderful name for this. The video is called The Paradox of Skill. Okay? And effectively, it's why skilled players make games worse and how game designers also then contribute to that. Okay?
Yeah.
And so it's a discussion of how effectively high-skilled players, what you end up designing more and more toward, end up making the game worse for everybody in the long run. The old statement of like, if you make things better for competitive players, you make them better for casual. I have long been highly suspect of that statement. And I think that they're not talking about AOS specifically. They mentioned some war games. They mentioned Magic. They mentioned a lot of different games, board games, all sorts of different things. They're more just like looking at game design at a high level.
Yeah.
And I found it to be a really fascinating conversation. It's only about 20, 25 minutes, something like that. But honestly, I think you could do, like, I might reach out to these guys and see if they want to come on the show and like, actually have a full discussion on this. Because I think it's absolutely critical given where we are in the game. Like, the push for simplification and where's the complexity lie and stuff like this. Like, I think it's just a really fascinating conversation at this point in AOS. So...
maybe you're planning on doing that as we get into the main topic, but I'd love to hear your take on the state of AOS through that lens.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm not sure is my real answer. Like, it feels AOS as a whole feels very strange to me right now in that I think a lot of things are actually very simple. Like list building has become a very simplified exercise for the most part. Not a lot of choice points there. I think oftentimes the execution in the game is more straightforward than maybe it has been in the past because you have such a defined and exacting tool set that you're working with. Like you have 2 prospector units, 2 hammers, that kind of thing. And so like there's on one hand there's that. On the other hand, there is a lot of complexity still in this game and hidden interactions and stuff like that. So because of like the ups of the presence of reactions, and like you do a thing and it has like second, third, fourth order consequences, right, of what it opens up for your opponent to do. So it's fascinating. Like I don't know, it made me think a lot. That's just it. I'm not sure I have a fully formed opinion on it, right? So
Yeah, that'd be a fun show.
absolutely. At any rate, Chicken Nugget Bad Boy with the $5 super chat saying, get Tom a russet potato with a windscreen on it and tell him it's a microphone. I mean, really, Chicken Nugget, my answer is, if we did that, it would probably be about as effective as his current microphone. So I think that's probably accurate. So anyways, check all that stuff out. All linked down in the description. So check them out. Cool. Let's talk about a little hobby time. You mentioned it. Hey, Iron Prominent, welcome. Glad you're here. I agree. It is good to see Tyler. Could this be, Tyler, that you've been painting? Has that happened?
Oh, obviously. I have been assembling, but
Okay.
no,
I'll take
I've
it.
got Dan and Travis are actively planning an intervention, and I think it might actually happen this time, where
Good.
they're going to come to my place and repossess all of the borrowed Warhammer models
That's correct.
that are in my house,
Yep.
and yeah, force a decision here, force the tree. So I think it might actually happen, man, and I might have to.
This is correct. We got to get you to detox, okay? Getting you
Yeah,
assembling and painting your own stuff, that's the methadone as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned of your habit here. That's what we got to do. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's right.
I think it's long overdue, if we're honest. So long overdue. Yeah, no, we had a RTT 20. Well, it's supposed to be 20 players, 18 players. That was sweet. Get back up to 18 to 20. We hadn't had that in a little while. A lot of people came out of the woodwork
Nice.
and rocked Highlander Stormcast. Hurricanes at 100. Yeah, Vanguard Raptor Hurricanes at 100 points. Pretty good. Pretty good. And so playing some Shield Annihilators. I think they're really underrated. They went down in points. Soul Sworn, they went down in points. That stuff didn't necessarily need to go down, but it's not being played a whole lot. So
Sure.
there we are. And anyway, yeah, just having a good time with 4.0. Really enjoying it for the
Nice.
most part.
Yeah, my 2 games were, as I said, with New Skaven. They were both a Clan Molder heavy army, as a matter of fact, which
Mm-hmm.
obviously saw some good points movement with the change. So as I mentioned, playing there.
Mm-hmm.
And so my hobby has been painting some couple different things. I actually spent the weekend with Sam. So I was hanging out with Sam Lenz all weekend, and
Nice.
I went up there on Thursday, got back on Sunday after 8 hours of flight delays and other associated nonsensory. Let's just say that I didn't expect for my flight from Wisconsin to Chicago to be me driving from Wisconsin to Chicago, but that was the nature of the thing.
Hmm.
And so, but 8 hours delayed, I eventually got home. But the output of that was this figure. I'll bring this up here. So this is her all done and on her base. And the goal here was to paint as Sam. What I mean by that is he and I like tried to remain perfectly in sync. Like he would do a step, and basically like I would be working along with him doing exactly what he did. So he made all the choices. Paints,
Mm-hmm.
color schemes, everything, application. And what was fascinating about it was not just to follow his exact process, which of course is always interesting. But what was also fascinating was to we talked through every decision. Does that make sense, right? So
Yeah.
it wasn't just like me doing like put the paint where he says to put the paint. It was here's why he does what he does and how he thinks about it and stuff like that. Arden Throne with the $5 super chat in honor of Tyler's return. Oh, fantastic! Yes, wonderful. I agree. So this is what came out of it. This wonderful musketeer figure, all painted up. I made a little French street for her there with a little recruitment poster on it and stuff. I went back and looked at what the streets in Paris looked like in the 17 and 1800s, like what were they constructed of, and I think I found a couple interesting like artist renderings. Obviously, it wasn't like there was photographs, but like pictures from the time, and it was basically what a lot of them looked like. So I was pretty happy with that. Yeah. And so she was really, really, really fun to do. So, and all in all, I'm pretty happy with how she came out. And it was just a real great learning experience working with Sam on this project. So there you go.
Very cool, man. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. But can you paint a Sam if you're not wearing a luscious wig and tiny tank top? I don't think so. That is true. Although, to be fair, Sam had on comfy Christmas sweaters basically the whole time we were there. It's cold in Wisconsin, so it was more of a comfy Christmas sweater weather than a tank top. Though we did, of course, work out, and that was like, if I'm gonna live as him, we did our, like, I normally work out every morning, so I just did his Friday morning workout. I think he has some footage of that, so look for that in a video. I'm sure he'll use, because I think he recorded some of me working out there, so. I'm sure that'll show up in the video. At any rate, so yeah, and then I'm still working on my little boy here, my little gray seer. He's almost done. I'll actually probably have him finished up after the show tonight. There's not much more to do on him, so excited about this guy. Love this model. Just think it's absolutely wonderful, and love that I get to. Very happy to be painting it. I got myself a second one just in case I didn't like this one, so I could try again.
Nice. Stuart, yeah, theoretically, that's still the plan. Theoretically. Again, I need a detox program, Stuart. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Gareth throwing in the $1.99 super chat saying, not in honor of Tyler returning, but for no Tom. Just, that's fine, Gareth. I am willing to be bribed. Like, Tom can just never be on again, that's if that's what it takes. I mean, like, I can be bought in that way. So he can to encourage him to go do something on his own. But no, at any rate, so yeah, it's been a great hobby weekend. I'm off work obviously for the end of the year, and so it's a lot of like painting and just making stuff for videos and getting all other channel things all done up. So a lot of that. All right.
Thanks,
So with all that out of the way, my good man, I think it's time. It's time to talk about the Battlescroll. All right. So this is a big one.
Yeah, they went all out. Nice to see.
How much for Haywo bribes? You got to bribe Haywo. If you bribe Haywo directly, he'll. I'm sure we could get him on the show regularly. Exactly. This is a big one. I'm pretty excited about this. Don't forget, as I said, hey, welcome everybody. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Do all those things as we're switching topics into the main topic here. Before we get into the deets, yeah, tell me, Tyler, high level, what did you think about this?
So, I think looking at it through the lens of just today, it's a little hard to wrap my head around, just a few hours of looking at it, where we might end up with this, because it is so many changes. I think just through the lens of today, an initial take, it's one of the best that they've done in the history of AOS. They actually got in there, took some swings, both with rules changes, points changes. It's a lot, and I'm pretty happy with it overall. I think there's some potential that some of these things may have unintended consequences. Some of the point values will have unintended consequences, will be off. But in general, yeah, pretty happy.
Yeah, I agree. Let me shout out Natalie here first with the $10 super chat saying, I'm firmly on Team Tyler, but I also need to never hear Tom smack his mic ever again. Very nice. Yeah, we could all, that could be a great resolution for 2025 for all of us, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think this is what we really needed. Like, this is the juice. There's things that needed to be addressed. I think a lot of them got addressed. I think there is still like one big glaring area of challenge in the game right now after this. Besides, like, I still think we could probably adjust manifestations a little more, but that's like actually not that big. I think that's mostly power level stuff. Like, I think if
Yeah.
we just weakened down Morbid and Primal more and made it so like basically um all of the manifestations were working like the army manifestations, I actually don't think manifestations are much of a problem anymore. I think it's literally just those two bad actors that are causing most of the feel bads. I've played a couple games now where we've been using the army specific manifestations. Like, that's been kind of a goal for a little while, to just like, let's just do that and
Right.
try it. And I gotta say, it's fine. Like,
Yeah. I
it's
feel pretty
fine
good.
in that case, because you're just like, one, there's generally maybe one around that goes to do something. Maybe
Hmm.
there's like often one utility one. That's about it. Like there's just, they're so different, the feeling between playing Morbid and playing like the Skaven one, right?
Sure.
Or whatever. So I mean, it's not that there's
Yeah.
not still rules confusion with them, but anyways, I think the only outstanding thing in my mind right now in the game that's I sort of think is a big fundamental issue is reinforced units, and like the
Mm.
fact that you're for any unit that's meant to actually accomplish something on the table that's not a prospector, right, or a hero, either the unit's
Yeah.
reinforced or it's a waste of space. That's it.
Well, I mentioned in our one of our group threads yesterday, right, that for lulz, I was trying out a Stormcast, no duplicates, no reinforced units. I had 13 different war scrolls and was disappointed by reality quickly smacking me in the face about how I would have to play the game. Where, in general, often with AOS, at least with my playstyle, I think a lot of people's playstyle, you're playing a counter-attacking approach. It's a castle, an extended castle, and uh, you're having layers, just anvils and hammers, screens and hammers, that kind of classic approach, right? Well, with no reinforced units, I had to take that to 100 to try to even make it work. Where it's like, all right, have multiple layers, have to protect from a double, have to protect from a double against 10 shows and 6 Vanguard fighting twice.
Yep.
It just the footprint gets ridiculous
Yeah. Yeah.
with the 6-inch activation threat, right? And even then, it's potentially more because they can potentially get around you. If you only have units of 5 40-millimeter bases, that's not much in the way of actual proper bubble wrapping. So just add all these things together. That yeah, it's pretty weird right now, man. If you're trying for that MSU playstyle, I can't tell you a single list that I've seen that's like meaningfully MSU, like true MSU, that's done well at tournaments. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Agreed. A Team 78 with the $14 super chat saying, thanks for the great content, Vince. Girlfriend and I broke up, but I have a Skaven horde to paint and to keep me company. Can you assure me the Great Horned Rat is the only love I need in my life? I can. The Skaven will keep you warm, be in your heart all year long. Not just here at Christmas, but throughout all your life. They'll be with you. Partners can come and go, but a good army is with you for your whole life, my friend. That's what I say. So, I mean, I've been with my wife for how long now? I've been married for 21 years and I've been with my wife for 24. But I've had my Skaven army for 27. So I'm just saying. There's one relationship that's longer. Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's so something to hopefully look forward to in the future as far as like how that gets addressed and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, let's focus on this one. Okay. Let's
Yep.
get it. Let's dig into this battle scroll. 2+ tough. Doug was in the chat and he said, "Can we just agree the summary made this so much easier that to ingest?" Yes, I agree, Doug. The summary is great. CJ Obusta with a $20 super chat saying, "Happy Lucavi point drop day." Yes, indeed. All the
Oh.
Lucavi fans out there are very happy about today. That's right.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. That's 20 bucks well spent there.
I
Amen.
am thrilled about a lot of things with Soulblight. We'll get into the individual armies. Okay,
Yeah.
Tyler, let's start with the biggest change. This is a big one. We're just gonna jump right in. There's so much meat here. Okay, this is like you can talk about the meat and potatoes. This is all meat, baby. So expanded rules. So here we go. Here we go. This is the new rules for honor guard and double turns and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Summary. That we'll get to the real text is later, but here's the summary of the thing. If you take a double turn, your opponent is the underdog for the rest of the battle, or until they take the double turn, at which point they're no longer the underdog. Okay? So, love this. If you double turn your opponent, because nothing was worse than your opponent getting the double turn into being the underdog. Have you had that happen to you? Because I certainly have.
Of course.
Like,
Yeah.
you push out, you take top of one, score decently, they purposely underscore you, get the double, and then now they're the underdog going into the power play. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes complete logical sense.
Right.
I definitely feel like they're the underdog as they're literally just gutting my army. So this is good. However, if you are losing by 6 or more victory points, you don't suffer any penalties for taking a double turn. You can pick a tactic, your opponent doesn't automatically count as the underdog, etc. Okay? So if you're losing, like by 6 or more, so the score's 20-14, let's say, and you get the option to take the double, you can take it and still play normally. They don't become the underdog, you still get to do a battle tactic, all of that kind of stuff. Okay? So, great. Also good. Like having that admission that like if you're down by that far, actually the double then gets to act as a catch-up mechanic and not just pure punishing. I would also point out that this discourages, theoretically, the early game double and encourages the late game double. Right? Where you're more likely to be down by 6. Like it's pretty unlikely in turn 1 you're going to be down by 6. I mean, it's possible, I guess, but like it's unlikely, right? Whereas later it's more likely as you go 3 into 4 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we've got 2 new honor guard abilities, which is cool. We'll get into those. I am very excited about both of them. These are right up my alley. And then players with more regiments than their opponent can use a second honor guard ability on a unit in another regiment. What is this, Tyler? Is this actual incentive not to just race to 2 drops? I don't know if it's enough, but I like it that it's something.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a shot on goal. It's a nice swing.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to have an impact. Yeah, TBD on the scale, but it will have an impact, I think, on drop count, on expanding list variety, list building. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. Assistant Ref says, I wish they had just got rid of the underdog bonuses entirely and then made them bonuses for getting doubled, but this is better than nothing. I mean, yeah, they wrote underdog into the scenarios and the concept, so it's just going to be there. But it is what it is. I don't think I disagree with you, Assistant Ref, but, you know, we're working within the constraints of what it is. So I'm glad they took a shot at this. I do think on a battle plan with a strong underdog mechanic, it actually is very impactful. I do think the language on this is very confusing. Noop said nothing like making priority and underdog even more complicated. And like, this is true. Like actually this language as the rules are written are just like to make it like clear language is so confusing. But I like this summary because I think the summary is fairly clear. Like if you double turn and you're not down by more than 6, then your opponent's the underdog and you don't get to do a battle tactic, right? If you're down a whole bunch, you can double turn fairly without any other consequences. That's basically the summary of what's happening here, right? Now, when you translate that into rules language, it gets really complicated, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but we'll dig into that in a minute. Okay, like yeah, the difference here is how you can write the summary versus how you have to write the game rules to make everything like actually function, right?
Sure.
So. I'm not a fan of the legalese it takes often, but you know, I spoke to many rules lawyery people who assured me that the wording was you know probably the correct wording. So whatever. I'm not that person. I'll leave that to the lawyers. There's a lot of summary of the individual stuff that changed in the armies. I'd rather not get into them here. We can hit them in the we can kind of cover them quickly. there's like some interesting ones. Like we'll get into them when we get into the individual faction packs. My point, but we'll just hit a couple high notes here. Number one, the is Croak NATO back? Is Croak back? Could it happen? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. A lot of the blood tithe abilities being moved to once per phase instead of once per turn. A lot of and there was much rejoicing. Basically, all the chaos ones caused me a lot of elation. Screech becoming a wizard 2. The furnace and the screaming bell being 13 inches instead of 6. Praise the Lord. Praise our great Lord Horned Rat. Euphoric killers affecting companion weapons. That's wonderful. And a lot of things moving to 2-inch coherency, which is great for
That's
these
good to
like
see,
big
yeah.
winged models. Yes.
Right. Yeah, having played Plague Drones and Blight Lords, that's definitely a welcome change. And it'll have an impact in gameplay as well. It'll open up some new possibilities as far as pinning, stretching, just, yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. And then the big change, the big punch in the face to Nighthaunt, Discorporate, is now in the hero phase instead of a reaction. Good. Correct usage. Positive change. By the way, this is sort of an orthogonal change. It's kind of out of nowhere, right? Like you wouldn't have guessed this as a way to sort of hit the army. I was thinking about Morbid, just as a slight note. So Purple Sun is a sun, right? Yeah?
Sure.
That's the idea of the thing. Okay. What does the sun do? Well, it like rises and sets, right? Like that's what the sun does. I mean, theoretically. I understand that the actual sun... It's weird that they even have the concept of a sun in the mortal realms, since there is no actual sun. It's just one of the other planes rotating around. But look, we're just going to put that to the side for a moment, okay? Forget about that. Kevin Levine with a $10 super chat saying, for Team Tyler. Heck yeah. Absolutely, we're here for Team Tyler. The people demand you, Tyler. I think Purple Sun should just set. Like at the end of every round, you roll a die, or end of every turn or something, you roll a die. And if you roll a 1 or 2, the sun sets and the Purple Sun goes away. And it can't be resummoned until the next battle round. Something like that. Something like that would be an interesting way to hit Morbid. Like, you also need to hit the Schnackles, by the way. Those are actually the truly offensive part. But, like, I just think that, like, here's the reason I love that. Morbid gets taken by every Spike because it's the source of the most reliable power. And Spike hates unpredictable random things they can't depend on. So turn their favorite toy partially random and you break it for them. Okay. And so there you go. That would be my way I'd fix Purple Sun.
Pretty neat.
So let the sun set. Not anything to do with this, just something I meant to mention earlier. Okay. Flesh Eater Courts with some big giant buffs and that they can address their subjects and get some points. And Gormain is now that. He can do the he can get noble deeds points when he does his thing. Ogre Maw Tribes with their monsters adding 2 to the trampling charge rules, meaning, hey, the monster trucks now once again always do mortal wounds on the charge. How exciting for them. And the Sons of Bahamut get to always do their little impact mortal wounds as well. So there you go. As well as getting some potential attack buffs. So, yeah, cool. That's sort of our quick summary. Overall, a lot of changes, and we're not even this. What I love about it is this summary really doesn't even touch on all this stuff. You know, there's so much more in here. So,
yeah, of course, yeah. Do you want to say more now about I feel like we went over the honor guard pretty quickly, or?
Oh, we're going to get into it in detail here in a moment. We're not leaving behind the honor guard. No, Tyler, it's about time to get. We're going to get deep in the guts of that honor guard. Are you kidding me? This is one of the most exciting things I've had in a while because this is we're right in my space here. You know, one of the things that's not even listed here, but I think is actually super impactful, is a plethora of bonus heroes. Our collective national nightmare has started to come to an end. I've realized there's a new thing I'm going to talk about when we get there, but many heroes that weren't wizards or priests, basically, if you're just like a foot melee hero, you're now a bonus hero. Thank you. It's about time.
Yep.
Okay. All right, here we go. So, now we got into the details. Seizing the initiative, this is what it's called. If the player who went second in the previous battle round wins the priority roll and chooses to go first, Their opponent is the underdog until their opponent does the same. Okay. Again, the earlier wording is way easier to interpret, but at any rate, if a player is behind by 6 or more victory points, they do not suffer any penalty from taking 2 turns in a row. Their opponent is not the underdog for the rest of the battle, and they can use the Tactical Gambit ability to pick a battle tactic. Cool. Okay. Fine. Great. A+. Whatever. All right. I'm good with it. Like, with the summaries up there, it explains how it worked. We talked about how it works. I know this wording is very confusing. Stick to the summary, and just remember, if you take the double, your opponent's the underdog for the rest of the game, unless they take the double, at which point they lose it. Unless you're down by 6 or more, at which case you can double freely without penalty. Great. Okay. And then yes, the honor guard. If you're more drops, you get a bigger honor guard. You get an extra honor guard. That's what I meant. Okay. So let's talk about some honor guard stuff here, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, anyway, we can come back to seizing initiative. Obviously, I have some thoughts on that.
Go for it. Yeah. Before we get into honor guard, talk about seizing the initiative. Tell me about it.
Well, so just let's talk about some basic questions, right? Number one, how much impact does this move the needle on that round 1 into round 2 double, that first double that has been, I think, legitimately an issue with 4.0, much more so than I expected. I remember back when you had 2-3 weeks of games on me, on the rest of us, and you were expressing that view, and I told you I thought you were a little out of your mind to express that view, more or less, and you were right. Some of your favorite words. You were right. And
it rings hollow after a while.
That's true. That's fair. So do you think we're moving the needle? How much are people still leaning into just taking that round 1 and round 2 double, even with this cost of giving up underdog?
Yeah.
And with the other variables, obviously, that we now have, which is the incentive to go higher drop, etc. But just, yeah.
Okay, so let's break this up, because obviously we have two different incentive plays here. Both of these updates are incentive plays, right? They're trying to change the cost benefit for doing this stuff. Okay. So in the game that I won, I took the double at the bottom of 1. Okay. Like, playing under this rule. And you know what it mattered? Not at all, because my opponent had no army left. Like, enjoy being the underdog with no army. He had a hero and a unit that was on the other side of the board. Right? Like a prospect unit. Or was he? It wasn't even a prospect unit. It was a hammer unit. It was just way out of position because of various and sundry things that had happened. So, like, I was happy to let him be the underdog for the rest of the game because I just smashed him off the table. Right? So, like, if you're in a position where you can still bring the hammer down and kill their hammers and or juicy heroes, like if you can kill the critical part of their army 1 into 2, yeah, you still do it. Like, this changes nothing. Right? You just need to be sure you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're giving your opponent, like, a loaded gun for the rest of the game. Right?
Sure.
But, like, I was sure I could do it. I had 3 hammer units. I was into his squishy bits. I was playing against Siege. I had broken through the castle walls. You know, I was up over the top. All the blues and brims were dead. You know, I was into, like, I was into the meat. I was killing chickens. Right? So, like, we're in it there. Okay? Like, I was climbing up and down Kairos and the other stuff that was, you know, back in the castle, right? At the start of the turn. Like, so, you know, I won that priority and I was like, I'll take this. And he's like, okay, that's game, right? I mean, because he had nothing. There was just nothing left. It was obvious. Okay. And, like, so who gives a hoot that he's the underdog? Like, I had that win. Now, in the next game we played where I lost, which went basically the full duration, it never came up, is what I'll say, priority wise. So I can't say, but I mean, I think it'll make you think a little more deeply about it. It moves the needle a little. I think you will lose some games if you just like go, yeah, YOLO, double 1 into 2, and you're not actually in a position to capitalize on that. You are basically putting yourself in a very bad place. Right? Especially with some of the underdog bonuses in some of the scenarios. Like, in some scenarios, you will just kill yourself if you don't win the game outright there. You're effectively, it is pushing your chips. What you're asking me, Tyler, is pushing all your chips into the middle of the table and saying all in a good strategy. And it's like, well, yeah, if you've got the cards, it's a great
Right.
strategy. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have the cards, but you think you're going to be playing against somebody who, I don't want poker people coming after me, but you're playing against people you think you can fold out, right?
Mhm.
Because like you're effectively bluffing them out. Um, in there's no bluffing in Warhammer. You got to either have
Sure.
the cards or not.
Right.
But I do like the latter point as well. I think this puts it back to the double being actually a catch up mechanic. That is, I think, the actual more impactful thing here.
Yeah.
Because now
Yeah.
the double, like 3 into 4, actually, where you tend to be down by 6, can actually be a catch up mechanic as opposed to like oh, I need to take the double, but I'm just going to screw myself and dig myself further in a hole. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually the strength of the thing. I don't think this actually changes much the problem of the turn 1 into 2 hammer kill, because that's a function of the fundamentals of the game. I think
Right.
what this does
Yeah.
is it provides more for a catch up mechanic. Right. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
that resonates. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's certainly aligned with my sense. It's unclear how many players are going to try to lean into being behind 6 points deliberately, or quote unquote deliberately. That is like looking to lean into that as a path to victory. Maybe, mm, probably not on the whole, though. Maybe on the margins. But yeah, generally aligned that it doesn't impact the fundamentals. And that's the example of, like slaves now with whether it's Gaunt Summoner putting them more than 9 away or more than 7 away with the 3d6 charge, banner, +1 attack, 10 chosen, or whatever, plus another
Yeah.
unit.
I
And
mean,
then they
if
fight
I've
twice and they
dumped
don't.
10 chosen and 6 Varangard into my opponent at the bottom of
Yeah.
1, and I've like blown up everything in that general vicinity, and then I get the double, I'm taking it. I'm taking it
Right.
without a moment's hesitation, because I am going to, because your army will, if they don't exist anymore after my turn at the top of 2. Like, that's it. You're dead.
Yeah, and this is not to get sidetracked by this, but I don't really see much that the game has done to address this structural issue that it's having. And I've seen this in the context of, hearing recaps of champs event games with, players that are highly ranked, just exceptional players that will struggle with this basic architecture, this basic reality of the game, of the impact of the double in some of these armies.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's always been a thing in the game, but it does feel more pronounced to me. Dude, like 3.0, this losing, screening was just part and parcel of 3.0. And every time I
1.0,
talk about
2.0,
screening,
3.0, we would have never had this discussion.
yeah, it's like it didn't exist. This wasn't, yeah, you lose the game on round 1, you've screwed up. That's on you.
Right.
Later rounds, it's a little more interesting. But anyway, yeah, so that resonates.
Yep. All right, let's jump to the other side. Let's talk about Honor Guard. Obviously, if you're more drops, you get this extra. You get to pick a second Honor Guard ability in a different regiment, which is cool. And there's a couple notable changes I want to talk about here. Specifically, I want to talk about the Bodyguard change. Okay. Because that is a little different. There was a minor change there. Okay. Namely, that neither the regiment's honor guard nor the regiment's leader charge this turn. This is a very popular thing, right? So our old Krondus crazy, drop the bodyguard in, like have the big dragon charge in, and then drop the boys from space 9 inches away, but still, in that range, right?
Yeah.
And then causing the attack penalty. That doesn't work anymore on the turn that they go in, right? Because the general would have charged. So I think that actually is a big impact to that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, someone who abused it. It was very abusable. It was very strong. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Eric Doty says, is recursion strong enough to make a difference in bouncing back from a double turn? Sometimes. It depends on what it is. It depends on the army and how much you can chew into. Like, it's hard to wipe like a Soulblight army completely in a double just because of the nature of what they are and how they recur. But like, it depends. Depends what you can get into. I mean, there are things that can't be recurred, right? And so if all your heroes go down, then you're pick up your toys, mate. You're going home. Like, you're done. Okay. But let's talk about these two new honor guards. So first off, Field Sergeant. Declare, pick a friendly, non-fly infantry hero in but not leading a regiment to be that regiment's honor guard. You can pick a unit in reserve. Add 2 inches to the move characteristic of friendly, non-fly infantry units while they are wholly within 12 of the honor guard. I love this. I love this so much. Okay? Because there's a lot of cheap foot bonus heroes now that like I've often wanted to include, or just other things. And this is actually hugely materially impactful to a very certain number of armies, specifically ones that I either play or like. Okay? So like with my Skaven, Claw Lord sitting at 80 points, giving this bonus, or one of the Warlocks giving this bonus. Not only does he now move 8 inches, but all my Clan Rats and Retogers and all of that stuff now move 8 inches in a big bump.
Right.
Hugely
This
impactful.
would, wording wise, this would impact 3 claw steps ahead, right?
Sure does.
So this would be additive. So what are we looking at as a base? Is it 6 plus 2? 8
6
plus
2, yeah. 6 plus 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty good.
So like, and I'll tell you right now, this right here, I had this ability. I went high drops to test this out, and this made a huge difference. And you got it exactly in 3 claw steps, right? Like my opponent tried something, I was able to 3 claw steps because of the extra 2 inches of movement. I got to exactly where I needed to be. Like I literally couldn't have done it with 6, was able to do it with 8, and then just flipped the whole script on its head because of that, right?
Yeah, I've been thinking about like rattling guns as a way to try to better keep them safe. So 15-inch range, I believe, on rattling gun.
Yep.
I mean, name your favorite, but 15. Okay, so plus 8 plus average 3-4 and redeploy. That's a pretty big, pretty big range you can reposition.
So I mean, it's I really, really, really love this and what I like about it is the way that they worded this. Okay. What I mean by that is like I love that this is worded for things like for a lot of foot things that were slow already, and that's all it hits. It doesn't hit fly units, which is great. It's only infantry people, and the hero who's doing it has to be a non-fly infantry hero. So who's benefiting from this in a big way? Nurgle, Ironjaws, Khorne, Foot Skaven, right? Stuff like that. Even potentially like foot-based LRL, Venari and things like that, right? Like your Wardens and things being able to move farther. But like a lot of that infantry that was really struggling in the movement game, this is a big deal, right? People mentioned cities like Hammers moving 9 inches and Executioners moving 11 inches. Yeah, sure, absolutely. FEC is potentially one that could benefit from this in a big way, right? They're little ghoulie boys and there are things like that going faster. So I think this is a huge deal. Huge deal. I am here for Field Sergeant in such a big way. Like this, because part of what has been challenging and confounding to me in this edition, Tyler, is that a lot of the armies I like to play are like foot infantry heavy armies that aren't very fast. And it's like that's really been a tough row to hoe in the current edition, right? I haven't been playing like massive reinforced cavalry blocks and stuff. Right.
Outside of Nighthaunt, this edition has generally not liked infantry at all.
Well, especially slower infantry, which is again like
slower infantry specifically.
A lot of what I play.
Yeah,
so.
that's why I after Vault Wars what's the good challenge with Stormcast, and it was infantry, slow infantry. You know, not having the delivery mechanism of 2x6 prosecutors, 20-inch moving paladors, 6 long strikes shooting. It's all of that. Like that's what those net lists are, and they're that way for a reason, right? They have the power projection. Anyway, so yeah, this is really nice. This is addressing one of the fundamental issues of the game right now. Yep. It's not solving everything, but it's right. Good step in the right direction.
I agree. I think this is like just a really cool ability. And I'm happy to see it. I think we'll talk in a moment about, is this second honor guard enough to motivate you to go higher drops? I don't know, but like we'll get there. Assistant Ref said it also has to be an additional bonus hero in a regiment, so it's basically limited to stuff that isn't a wizard or a priest either. Yeah, that's right. Because usually the wizard's leading the regiment or something like that, and then the dumb bonus hero is just sitting in there. So that's fine. Again, oftentimes there are actually bonus heroes I want to take for various and sundry reasons now, especially when they're super cheap. They just become useful for a couple different ways. The other new one, also quite exciting. Pick a friendly, non-unique monster in but not leading a regiment to be that regiment's honor guard. You can pick a unit in reserve. That unit can ignore the effects of the battle-damaged ability. In addition, add 1 to hit rolls for combat attacks made by the honor guard. This ability affects companion weapons. Okay. Cool. Love this. I love this because there's so many people who want to take monsters, but they just suck because they all hit on 4s. Congratulations. Now you get to have one monster that hits on 3 without needing to waste an all-out attack on them. That's great. How about, but there's fun choices here, Tyler. How about your unit of baby giants? How about that? Get them to get them the old +1 to hit. That's meaningful. Okay.
Yep.
Tyler, how about your Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I'm gonna be playing corn for Nashville teams. So taking a peek at that right now.
Yep.
Yeah, Storm Drake Guard are
Storm Drakes.
you know,
sure.
they got a second point drop. They're looking pretty enticing right now, I think. They'd love this.
Catharsis,
Yeah.
yes, it does. It does work with Storm Drake Guard units. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is cool. This is just a really cool ability. I like this a lot. Potentially Leviathans, Big Turtle, could be a target for this. You know, like Big Pig. Yep, thank you. Abaddon, Big Pig. The actual like the medium pig, as it were, like the one that's not the Tusk boss or whatever. I think he's awesome with this ability actually. This just opens up a lot of monsters, like because so many monsters were stuck on 4s to hit, it just made them pretty bad. So having a built-in +1 to hit. Lich Finder General. It works with heroes, ? Pick a friendly, non-unique monster, but not leading a regiment that can be that regiment's honor guard. As long as your hero monster can be in the regiment but not leading it, so they have to be a bonus hero of some kind. Yes. So that is a smaller list of monsters that can do that, monster heroes specifically. Quite a lot, obviously many monsters fit in the regiment, but like there's not that many monster heroes that can go in there, but sure. Catharsis, no, it does not. Otherwise it would say what you're getting caught up on there is the wording for like the singular, but it doesn't. If you look later, but the way it's where it says unit, I actually expect they might update that wording just a little in some way to make it more aligned. I'm guessing that's just like a, just like didn't realize that they had used a singular at one point, and then everything else is referencing the unit. So, okay. So at any rate, he is indeed Big Pig War Boss is indeed a bonus hero now. I agree, Abaddon. I just don't like him very much. I like the middle pig, but yes, a monster or a monster unit. It's the same thing. It's saying pick a non-unique monster, keyworded, then that unit. So unit is the thing you picked. Cool. All right, good. So these are awesome. Because you don't have enough points, Charles, to actually run them, and your prospectors need to be over on the side doing things, and only reinforced hammers matter. And when you look at the points and the way it works out, nobody has any points for screens anymore. It doesn't exist. You don't have enough points to actually just have 2 units sitting around doing nothing. Okay. So, here's my question for you, Tyler. Does this move the needle at all on, like, are you going to be 3-drop with this? Because here's the actual comparison you're making, right? If you push to 2-drop now, what do you have? Realistically, you probably have a 50-50 shot at going first in most situations. Right? Like, because you're going to be fighting a lot of other 2-drops. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's say 70% of the time you're rolling 50-50, and 30% of the time you're getting to go first. Okay? That's probably what it's going to play out. Something like that. Yeah? Okay.
You think going forward that's how it's going to play out?
No, I'm saying like right now. Like I'm saying
right now. Okay,
like,
right now.
It's sort of at the current moment in time, right?
Yeah.
If you're 3-drop, what that would mean is that 70%, let's just assume those are the numbers, 70% of the time you get a second honor guard ability, and 30% of the time you're rolling to see who goes first. Yeah, or something like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of shrinking the world to 2 and 3 drops here, but just to simplify the discussion, right? So, would this make you build more to try to get the second honor card? Like, would you go 3 drops now and be like, okay, that's a comfortable prize? Would you build with this? And moreover, if you were going to build with this as a strat, do you like really try to lock it in and go 4 drops? Right? That way you're just like, I am guaranteed to get my, because you, let's say you really want this as your strategy. I could see you building the army around this.
Yeah, I mean, I think out of the gate, there's obviously going to be quite a bit of interest in at least trying it out. So we're going to see quite a bit out of the gate. I mean, that's usually how things work. And then eventually we'll settle into what it's going to be. And it won't be as much as it was out of the gate. So I think we'll see quite a bit of it initially. It does create a more intriguing game theoretic concept on, yeah, where are we likely to end up with these things? I think going back to the RIP, right, where you laid out the all-in is still a fundamental issue with the game.
Yep.
And as long as that continues, if you don't address that, and they have not sufficiently addressed it, then yeah, it's going to be an anchor on everything here. To answer your question directly, obviously it's going to be dependent on list, right? But I definitely think there's going to be a number of lists. This appears to be a sufficiently attractive option, I'll say, where you build into it, you play into it. Now, as you said, if you're playing into it, I mean, some armies, maybe Fire Slayers, Ironjaw's armies with lots of heroes, even though they have right ways now to put them into regiments where they can lower their drops. They have a reason. We have a reason now to consider going really high drops. So do we think that actually 5 drops is going to be a meaningful percentage?
Sure, like you go to 4 or 5 just to really guarantee that you're going to have it all the time.
Yeah, that ends up being a strong enough pull that's one of the buckets that we've been in we knew when we saw the first Battlescroll, we're going to end up in the 2-drop bucket is going to dominate. Yep. And it's been roughly feels like a 2 to 1.
Just like the slow move to it, the whole
yeah. Yeah. So I think the 2-drop bucket is still going to be a sizable percentage, but then yeah, what's the weighting going to be on these others? I mean, yeah, man, if we really think this is a serious thing, I wouldn't be surprised if 4 or 5 drop, including up to 5, is meaningful. But I don't know. Yeah, it's certainly a much more interesting world that we're in now with all this.
Yeah. My argument is I think it's a very weak incentive overall. I think it's mostly a consolation prize, though I think that there will be some armies. I think I would do it with, I think there's some armies with Skaven I would do it. I think there's some armies with cities I would do it. A couple things like that where I would like intentionally build into super high drops to get there, right? Just because I would try to make it part of my game plan and know that like if I'm that many drops in 90% of my games, especially at the beginning right now, I'm going to be getting that second thing, right? 90 plus percent. The reality is I could easily go the whole tournament and have it every time, right? So I'll be interested to see what lists people come to. I think it's good. That's my ultimate statement. I think it's good to have this, like, even at worst, if it's a consolation prize, it's a good consolation prize, right?
Sure.
So like, okay, right. People mentioned FEC, Sylvaneth, Cruel Boys love it. So yeah, I mean, there you go. That's, I do think we will see some armies getting into this. Effectively, this is sort of weekly the old Warlord where you get like the second enhancement, right? It's just like you've just got to build high enough drops to make sure you actually get your second enhancement, because you don't, if you're like 4 drops and then you're still rolling off with someone else, it's like, okay, well, we were both going for this and and neither of us get it now, right?
Yeah, definitely. But no, yeah, pretty good stuff overall.
Yep, agreed. Okay. We'll move past the spearhead only because I don't play it enough to know what these things mean, but okay. All right, into the actual meat of the thing. Okay, let's get into the army-specific stuff. I'm going to timestamp this. As we're getting into the army-specific, I want to hear those comments still flowing, everybody. Good feedback so far. Thank you all for all your thoughts. I love seeing all the healthy discussion in here. Uh, so keep it coming. Hit like, hit subscribe, do things that make dings be cooler. And yeah. And hey, don't forget, and thank you to all the people who super chatted so far. All right, we're not going to go through every points change beat by beat, obviously.
Sure.
But with cities, your Free Guild Cav Marshal, your Free Guild Marshal and Relic Envoy, and your Steam Tank Commander are all now bonus heroes. Here, their Free Guild Veterans is what they end up being. Which part of the challenge with that is this is going to lead me directly to my like other discussion, okay? Which is now the actual lock in list building. So I went through and built a bunch of lists to test this out because I was like so excited about all these new bonus heroes, right? But what I noticed actually ends up becoming the choke point now is who can take the bonus heroes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like if the only bonus, if you like if all these people are bonus heroes, but then that bonus hero is locked behind something that has no good synergy in your army, but the bonus hero has a usage in your army, then you're still just back in the same place again. Gray Boy saying, hey Vince, first time chatter, long time viewer. This was released a day before my birthday. Hey, well, happy birthday. And as a Skaven player, this feels like a good gift. Well, the close to Christmas birthday, always rough. It was a present intensive time of year for you. But yeah, absolutely. It sounds like a great gift for me. I agree. Skaven players were happy. You get what I'm saying about the lock here? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Real quickly, I love Garrett said you should make it that if tied on drops, non-attacker gets second honor guard. That's pretty
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah. I like that very much. Right? So it's just like if you're tied and you lose, like in other words, it's just if you don't go first, right? Or if you if you not if you don't go first. That's not that.
Yeah.
If you don't have the priority choice, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, that's what I meant. You know what I meant. I said it the wrong way, but you know what I meant. CW Kreiner said Soulblight example. Death Rattle Overseer is tied to only unique non-Virkos heroes. Sag. Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about here, right? Like all these guys are Free Guild veterans. And the only non-special character who can take a Free Guild veteran is the Free Guild Marshal and Griffin. Right? So if that wasn't your hero you actually wanted, but you wanted one of these dudes, you're still in the same place. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you wanted a Dreadlord on Black Dragon and an Alchemite Warforger or something, right, as your two heroes, you're still not taking any of these guys as bonus heroes.
Sure.
That's the choke point. So, and oftentimes you are talking about big named people. So I hope your big name people are good. They're often the ones that have the most bonus hero choice, right?
Right.
The only notable points increases here were Executioners and Hammers. They did get potentially faster, so that's nice, as well as the Iron Breakers, all up 10. Everything else, big downers. Some of this stuff doesn't matter. The War Hydra at 160 still a skip. Steam Tank at 260 still a skip. Like these things are still skips even at that point, even with such big massive points drops. But there's plenty of stuff here that's interesting. Cavaliers could probably go down a little more. They're still probably 10 more. They're still just bad. And yeah, other than that, but like good stuff. I don't have much to say other than seems like good movement on the cities overall, and I think that it's. Pontifex going down 40 points. It's like that's a big drop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about cities, but certainly looking at Talia Vedra's change would seem to open up a new style of play with a 5-up ward and a +1 wound on up to 3 units, I believe, as long as she's in combat. And I think it's wholly within 12. You can pick up to 3 units. That's pretty good, man.
Yep.
I hope that we're going to see some lists leaning into that kind of melee style with her leading in the front. So that's cool. And yeah, it seems like there's enough here to move the needle at least a little bit. I'll be curious what people think about Fusiliers. That's been a unit that we're seeing show up, but I don't know. Maybe that unit's fine. Maybe it's just a Warmer Weekly fine. And I feel like I don't see yeah, I don't see cities a whole lot. And what I do, it's just the Lord of the Rings cities list right now.
Sure. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Um, that's but I mean, it's a lot of positive movement. We'll see if it goes anywhere. So there you
Yep.
go. Okay, next up, the Daughters of Cain. I was thrilled about this one. I went and looked at my list.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and actually, this made like a really meaningful change to my
Oh,
list.
awesome.
So that was great. I was very happy about that because I use the Bloodrack Shrine, so I got my like 20 points there. I use the Slaughter Queen on Cauldron, that was like 30 points, and I use the Life Takers, which was another 10 points per unit of that. So that was like 70 points down on my list. My list wasn't exactly at 2K, so like theoretically, I bought myself another small unit maybe. I haven't. I
Mm.
gotta look at it. I think, but I think basically I could get an extra basic Witch Elves unit in there, which was like nice because that could be another unit of potentially chaff or something like that. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Or let me make some different choices other places. So
Have you been playing much? I know you've been distracted by Skaven. Have you got
I
many
have
games
been.
in with Doc?
Oh, a little bit
Yeah.
here and there. Yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit there.
One
Yeah.
or two more. I like them. It's a lot of fun. It felt like playing
Cool.
like the Slanesh I wanted to play. It's still a fragile glass cannon that's really hard to pilot and play. But at least I
Yeah.
get to do my like attack twice with my unit whenever I want. I just got to spend a command point. I don't have to be pinned to the keeper secret stuff. So there you go.
Yeah. My
Um,
friend Chad's been giving a lot of updates over the last 4 months on sprints, trying to make them work, and yeah, it's been
it's hard,
interesting. Yeah.
but it's a challenge I enjoy. I like sort of glass cannon finesse armies, and that's very much what this is. It's rough playing in this edition where like because you don't hit as hard as some other things. But man, when you actually land all your buffs and go into somebody and just blend them out of existence, it does feel great. It does feel really
Right.
great. Part of the problem is still that you're locked behind needing to land an 8 up spell to do most of your work. That's rough.
Yeah. 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 That's what he's been finding. To me, this army feels like it's reflective of some of the systemic challenges with 4.0. I mean, it's always been a screens and hammers army, at least in my mind. I mean, obviously we had Marathon the Bow Snakes that were doing a lot of power projection, and that was skewed and that was crazy. But in general, like appropriately played, right? You're playing a trading game. I would think first and foremost, you have to be a trading game, and then you're scoring. Scoring isn't necessarily your primary focus. It's trading better when getting the upper hand and then scoring sufficiently to win the game.
Yeah. Hamza asked, "Is Witch Elf or Snake Doc better?" I honestly run a mix of both. Hamza is my answer. I wouldn't leave home without. I think I lean into both. Very simple answer. So
Do you find these point drops on like the Slaughter Cauldron or the Avatar of Cain, are these interesting to you?
the
Or
Avatar of Cain, no, the thing's dumb. But the Slaughter Queen on Cauldron, sure, sure, it's a meaningful drop. Yeah, 320. It's like it is materially not as good as the Hag Queen, but it's in a way
yeah,
that I don't mind. Is frankly what I would say. So like I'm pretty good with it actually. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Wonder if life takers, Heartrenders are. I mean, I've seen Heartrenders a little bit. I know best list at Worlds had a unit of Heartrenders, I believe, just 1 by 5. So yeah, maybe we'll see those show up a little bit more. And that's obviously pretty cheap, 80 for life takers, just as some prospectors' bodies, whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is one I want to rebuild my list a little and see if I can put the Iron Scale in as a bonus hero and then put the movement bonus on there. So now
Yeah.
my snakes are running around at 10 inches and stuff, so that kind of thing. I think there's potential play there. So yeah,
Uh, Last question on Doc. Have you tried out 10 bow snakes? Have
I have
you?
not. I have not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, Chad struggled with bow snakes, as it were. He's generally found the army has a lot of reason to just want to double down on melee offense.
Hmm.
And that, like when I look at Timbo Snakes at 280, that seems like a spot historically in AOS. But yeah, he struggled to make that work. And I've seen them show up a little bit, but certainly I've not been seeing like lean into skew, bow snakes, power projection type play. Yeah, it's mostly all about the melee,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense. Slaughter Troop in particular.
Yep.
Is that
I
what you've been
mean,
running, Slaughter Troop?
yes.
Or
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
okay, yeah,
Yep.
interesting.
All right. Fire Slayers. Where's Tom? I don't know. From what I've heard, all the Fire Slayers players are excited because this is just a ton of green, right?
Yeah,
Lot of points down across the board. probably in meaningful ways since it's happening, even though it's only 10 points down. It's on units that you take repeatedly multiples of. So like these are actually, these say 10, but they actually read -40 or -50 or something like that, right? A lot of bonus hero action in here. The Grimhold Exile, the Battlesmith, the Rune Sun on Magmadroth, the Auric Rune Sun, and the Auric Rune Father on Magmadroth, right? So, yeah. Okay. Cool. That's a lot of changes.
Kieran's making the point that they benefit big from the new seasonal rules as well, which, yeah, they certainly benefit Prize Beast, the Magma Draws like that, and then obviously +2 move sounds pretty nice.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, they have multiple hero monsters that could benefit from Prize Beast. They have many heroes that could benefit. Like the +2 movement is a huge deal on this army, right? So yeah, I mean, yep. Seems like they're in a good position. But there you go.
Yeah, man, I'd love to take them to a GT, like get some reps and take them to a GT, just to get a like that. They were fascinating to me when I saw the rules. Apart from the challenge of basically 6-up save armor, now they have ways that you can try to improve their durability through, the Prayer of Ash, whatever it's called, the -1 wound, that's unlimited. You've got 5 awards. You've got potentially fight first across your whole army on a certain, they have tricks that they can try to leverage to improve that durability. But yeah, clearly it's been a challenge. I think they're really interesting, but I know
Agreed.
You've never necessarily been a
I don't think
fan.
like model wise this has never been an army that appealed to me, but I think they're interesting for like I think these are really interesting and positive changes. That's all I'll say. And I agree with you, Curran. Like the +2 move is huge. I think this is if you look at the way that wording on that was structured, it's meant to hit armies like this. Right? Like this is who it's meant to help. You look at that non-fly infantry hero, right? Who is it most impactful for? If your move 4 +2 is a 50% movement buff, it's a big deal. Right. So, yep. Okay. Idneth. I got a wrap up here. Our good friend Dino Konstantinos, he sent me a message talking about the IDK stuff. Let's see. In case you talk about them, the best Idneth list changed 0% points wise. Losing the bodyguard rule if the general charges hurts a bit since the Storm Eidolon general has an inbuilt retreat and charge, but it's not that big of a deal. He's still super tanky. Since IDK are generally 3-drop, getting a second honor guard buff on your turtle some of the time is pretty great. The already popular Soul Scryer dropping in points and becoming a bonus hero is a shock. It feels like they want people to play the Strike and Fade subfaction more. Thralls getting -10 points is meaningless. They're still really bad. 3 Ishlian are still tons better than 20 Thralls, and they cost 20 points less. The collective Idneth community freaked out when the Tidecasters can't be shot outside 12 inches is now -1 to wound. Instead, ritual change was seen. Thankfully, it's just for Spearhead, so don't worry. Calm yourselves. And then Sharks not being touched at all was weird. They're still paying for 2023. King got quite cheap. It's still bad. Rules need changing, not points. There you go. Thank you, Konstantinos. Much appreciated. I don't know if he thought I was going to read that just verbatim on the air, but God knows he has way more knowledge than I do about this army. So,
great summary.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, it's been exciting seeing them do well, and since that last battle, dude, they've been showing up, and a number of times putting obviously the win rate has climbed quite a bit in the last 4 months. So, been cool to see.
Roland says that IDK summary was keeping it 100. Absolutely, that's what we're doing over here. I go to the experts when I don't have the information. So what I'm gonna do next time is like reach out to everybody who I know plays these armies I don't play. Carrot and Overlords with just some points changes, but some decentish ones. Endrin Master with dirigible suit went way down. Our Admiral down. The Gun Hauler down 20. Sky Warden's down 10. Okay. They can take cover under the boat now and get B-1 to hit, not just in shooting, but also in melee. So they always had it with shooting, but now it's in melee as well, which can theoretically help maybe add some durability.
Right.
So, yeah. I think Crider and Overlord still have a real problem, and that problem is that the only way to build them that's functional is a horrible NPE experience. that just actually completely does not work against certain armies, and they just don't do any actual damage. So that's all.
Yeah, I haven't played enough against them, but I know they've been struggling. The win rate quite a ways down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their shooting is weak, and they're still fairly fragile in the end when it comes to it. So they can't get hit by any of the actual hammers in the game that are all now very, 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 very fast, right? So he ran not very fast. All right, Lumineth Realm Lords. A little bit of a mixed bag here. So we've got some points drops, but the Wind Mage is up a little. Our Techless is up a little. The Sentinels and the Wardens are up a little to account for potentially their ability to move faster, I would suppose. Spirit of the Mountain, Stone Guard, excuse me, and the Stone Mage all big down. And then the Lore Seeker and the Light of Eltharion down 20. And most importantly, the Light of Eltharion can join an eligible regiment as a Lumineth Paragon. So specifically, he can join Ella and Ella, or Techless, or or just the Venari Lord Regent. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably Ella and Ella. I really like Ella and Ella. I think they're super good. So.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, it seems like there's some good changes here. The Spirit of the Mountain benefit from prize beasts.
Yep.
That might be nice. Stone Guard, yeah, they seem pretty playable. Wind Chargers going down, which I think probably makes sense after the Huracan symbol got its adjustment wise, or slash points wise, whatever the adjustment was. We haven't been seeing them a whole lot since that Battlescroll. And yeah, I've heard some people complain about Sentinels going up, but others celebrate. Felt that they needed to go up a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, seems pretty good overall.
Martin Orlando says basically this is a lateral move. It won't change how they play, but it's not a nerf either. Okay. Very good.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, they've generally been in a pretty good place since that last Battlescroll.
Spencer Armstrong with a super chat saying, "Happy Christmas, Vince, Tyler, and Tom. Thanks for keeping me company on Wednesday night hobby nights this year. Looking forward to more of the same next year." You bet, Spencer. We'll be back in 2025. That's for sure. We're going to be here every Wednesday, keeping you that hobby company. We're closing in. Tyler, you realize that as we sit here, it's just a little more than a month away from the full 10-year anniversary. That's what's coming up.
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
There you go. So, okay. That's going to be a big show. Yeah. All right. Seraphon. I mean, maybe the most meaningful change was the change to Croak. Him being a little scarier now. Droog said, "Does the redeploy covering fire fix affect LRL at all? I know they're super shooty." I don't think so. Probably not too much, just because the way they were used, they didn't need to use that very much. And the Huracan has been like subtracted out of the all Huracan spam has gone away since they went to random movement, because again, Spike hates randomness, and so Spike stopped playing it immediately as soon as it was roll a 2d6, so that happened. So I would say not much, maybe a little, but not much. Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, here's a funny thing. How much does a Stegodon cost, Tyler? Regular Stegodon.
Well, a regular Stegodon survey says 220.
Very good. How much now I'm going to put a hero on top of it, okay? A little skink chief. How much does it cost now, Tyler?
It clearly got to be cheaper. So it looks like 200.
That's right. Get them discounts. Put heroes on things.
Yeah.
So that's just very funny. I think the Stegodon was probably just missed. Chances are he was supposed to come down to like 200 as well or something like that. Yeah. So at any rate, like lots of drops on big monstery thingies. The Kroiger going down 10 was a shock to me. I think they're really good, by the by.
Really good.
I did not think that was necessary. That blew me away. I've played against those guys plenty of times, and my God, they're monsters. You know, regular skinks down to 80 now because we got to get the Hunters of Hwanchi with dart pipes, some competition for other cheap garbage units.
Sure.
the pterodons down to 90 points, the Terra wings down to 70 points. Oh my goodness. So okay. Um,
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be intrigued by here with, in particular on the monsters front. On these monsters, again, going back to the battle reg, uh, yeah, generals, yeah, that's what they're called, battle regiments. I had a brain fart there. The Stegadon Chief, I've actually not played against that. Have you looked at that thing? Is that any, I know it used to be a terror back in the day.
he's garbage.
Okay, fair enough. The But yeah, Seraphon have been a little under that 50%. I don't know, somewhere 47, 48. I wouldn't be surprised if this moved the needle meaningfully on them a little bit.
I agree.
Start
I
to see
think
more
we'll see
monsters.
some percentage ups. I mean, like I love, by the way, that the Saurus, like the Saurus Scarvet on Carnosaur and on Old Blood,
Mhm.
the Carnosaur riders went down 40 points. Like, this is the kind of movement I want to see on these big heroes that just never get taken and aren't any good. Like, yeah, let's move some real points around, right? Like, we got the space here. Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's like that. The Stegadon Chief going down 40. That was all very good stuff to me. I think that's correct. I think in the end the Croak change might end up being like actually the meaningfully impactful one
Mhm.
out of all of this, ironically. But I'm sure these points aren't going to hurt. I'll say that much. So, yep.
Yeah, definitely.
No extra bonus heroes there because all their people do stuff. So I guess so. There we go.
Mhm.
I'm surprised that like none of the other things made it into bonus hero somewhere. I could make some arguments, but anyways, like maybe the Ripperdactyl Chief or Pterodon Chief or something like that kind of garbage. Maybe I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Funny saying this. I don't think Croak is going to be a problem. I'll go on the
I don't
record
know.
for
I don't
what
think
it's
he's gonna be a
worth.
problem. I just think he's actually valid now as a choice. I think you'll see him on tables
Yes.
again.
You definitely see him on tables, but I don't. Maybe that's not going on a limb, but certainly he would have been in the past with old Croak. But yeah, I generally like what they did to it. He needed the +1. I don't know if we've said it. He was base +2 to cast, +1 to unbind, +1 to banish, and then yeah, his 12-inch range went up to 18-inch range on Celestial Deliverance. The Celestial Deliverance spell, which you can deliver to what, 3 units? No,
Yep.
you can cast it. Yeah, up to 3 units each cast. You can cast it 4 times, I think,
Sounds
something
right
like
off the top of
that.
my head.
Yeah. So I mean, that's Croak Crawl. We've talked about it over the years. Some people have done well with it. It's never been a huge thing, but yeah, I think it's interesting.
Tyler, let's talk about Stormcast.
Yeah.
Your current flavor. Guard of Steel
Hmm.
Soul, bonus hero. Gabriel Sureheart, bonus hero, still dying on June 1st. Knight of Zeros, bonus hero. Knight Judicator with Gryphounds, bonus hero. Knight Venator, bonus hero, still dying on June 1st. Knight Zephyros, bonus hero, still dying on June 1st. We're not done. Are we done? No. Lord Imperator, bonus hero. Lord Terminos, bonus hero. I love that Stormcast have 2 pages of heroes. Good night. This is too many. It's just they over. This army's overproduced. There's too many units. Um. Okay. At any rate. Um. Yeah. A lot of bonus heroes. A lot of points down on those bonus heroes. Will any of
Yeah.
them get taken still?
I think I think the Night Judicator is interesting at 140.
Okay.
The Now that long strikes are 200. That's a pretty penny. The You want me to jump in now on the heroes?
Yeah. Yeah. Go,
Yeah,
man.
okay. So on some of these newer heroes, right? Knight Azure, the Tornus, the Redeemed, Iridan, etc. As we know, they all needed point drops.
Yeah.
Are we getting there with most of these pieces yet? I'm sure there'll be more people who are willing to try them. The Army of Renown, as you guys talked about, I think is reasonably intriguing. Like it's a Johnny Army of Renown. I think you can do some interesting things with it and
You
surprise
talking
some
about
folks.
the all hero time, the hero hammer
The
one?
the Ruination Chamber Army of Renown,
Oh, okay, the boring one.
Ruination
Got it.
Chamber specifically. Definitely the Timmy one. Yeah, that one's yeah. People are going to be trying that at GTs, and it got a little cheaper with some of these changes. But no,
Yeah,
man,
I
the
mean,
one,
all
yeah,
sauce all the time, all heroes. Yeah, let's go.
yeah, absolutely. That's got your name all over it. So I think in general, we're still not going to see, Vigilant Wargriff, Iridan the Witness, Tornus, Knight. We're not going to
Sure.
see them that much in
A
competitive
bad
G2
scroll is
lists.
still a bad scroll. I mean, that's just what it
It's
comes down
still,
to. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Night Judicator, yeah, that one's interesting. Draconis, a little bit, especially with Stormdrake Guard being more attractive now. What else? Imperatent. So one of the structural issues with Stormcast has been the lack of a reasonably attractive infantry delivery mechanism outside of prosecutors, right? So you've got three options: Gavriel, Gardas, and Lord Imperatent. Take two of three, and that package has been pretty expensive. Now, I say that obviously, with Stormcast privileges right in mind, and I feel like in general, Stormcast just got out like bandits in this battle scroll. Like they're still going to be really strong, but yeah, so that's a little bit better, right? With the going down, the situation with Gardas in terms of getting added where you can lower drops. I think that might see a little bit more play, but yeah. Uh, what else? Vandus, he got his usual
He
point
did.
drop,
Yeah, yeah.
so
He's enjoying
he
his life
might,
as a lightning geist, as a mad geist down in the dungeons, going down 20 points. Yep.
yeah, he might see a little bit play. That's another, like, out of the gate. We Stormcast control armies was going to be a thing, and people have been running the Vexilor. Vexilor's been solid, in particular as part of a Karazai/Krondys package. Even then, sometimes it doesn't make the cut. But yeah, that's the +3 control is a little bit ancillary. So yeah, we haven't seen that. I'd love to see somebody try to go 5-0, 4-1 with a real control-oriented Stormcast. Again, I think that's structurally kind of more of an expression of the state of the game than it
No,
is
I agree.
anything.
In talking about how we fix potential things,
Yeah,
obviously in Magic, here it is. There's the mention. Don't think we weren't gonna get. Don't worry, it was coming up. In Magic, you classically have a lot of different. You have this sort of tripartite that you're balancing back and forth between of like, control and aggro and sort of
right.
mid range, right? And ends up being their kind of rock scissors paper. Cygnus, yeah, it happens. Tyler's audio will drop out sometimes, just every so often. It hasn't been bad this show, but it happens a little bit. Make sure your mic is nice and close to you there, Tyler.
Yep.
We got to have a second mic fund.
It's looking
But at
like
any
it.
rate, yeah. But at any rate, I do think it'd be interesting if like over time we leaned more heavily into the objective control as a potential strat, like really slap
Yeah.
some sauce on it, where a couple of armies can really go hard in the paint on objective control, like reducing your objective control down, where they're playing like they don't have as much kill power, but they have like really high control power. Okay,
Yeah.
and that ends up being, which is effectively what control is, right? They're trying to slow you, stop you, but they don't actually have much ability to kill you, not in a fast way. So I don't know. Like right now we're a very aggro game. Like right now aggro, like that's just where we are right now. Branu
Yeah.
with $10 super chat saying Mike Fund 2.0. You're a hero, Branu. Um, the the reality is right now we're all red deck wins as a
Yeah.
meta, and we got to figure out a way out of that. So yep, and traditionally that's been like either you increase the mid range options or something like that. I don't know what that looks like, but here we go. All right, so let's move down to the Stormcast units. God knows there's multiple pages of these as well. So Tyler, regular annihilators down to 150. Hell yeah. I love regular annihilators. I know no one likes them, but
Look,
I like them.
the community has been underrating them. I mean, I understand why people have not been playing them. I mean, it turns out a 2-up base save that you can take to a 1-up base save, and that you can potentially have a 5-up board on top. That's pretty damn good in
Yeah,
this game right now.
I think it rules.
And
I love my annihilators.
they can make you strike last, so you can set up, 2 units, right? You come in 3 inches of the annihilators, you get within 3 inches of another unit. You might get hit by both of those units before you get to swing. It's an incredible unit. Yeah.
Nicholas Bridges throwing in the super chat of $10 saying filling Vince's vape pen. Yeah. That's for my Christmas. I appreciate it, Nicholas. I appreciate it very much. You gotta keep me in the juice, keeps me on my feet. Yeah, like happy to see the fulminators, stuff like that go down. Obviously, I have a lot of fulminators. I tend to play them. I know that haven't really been the choice in this particular meta, but I like them and I like my conversions I did for them. So there you go. Libby's down is nice. Like it's not the biggest deal, but they're fine. The Stormdrake Guard going down 10 is good, I think, especially with the ability to make them the monster thing. 640 for a unit of 4 with +1 to hit. That is a big investment, right?
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. That's 640 points for 36 wounds. That's rough. But they're pretty hitty things. Like they're pretty valid. So I don't know. And then the Vanguard Raptors going up to 220 as we mentioned earlier. So
200 on the long strikes.
or sorry, what
Yeah,
is it? 200. I meant 200. Sorry, 200.
yeah,
Apologize.
yeah, and then both Paladors, the OG Paladors going up +20, which generally they needed to go up. So 250 for the hand axes, 240 for the javelins. The Stormstrike Paladors, the new ones, got the point drop that they needed, or
Yeah.
at least a good start, 190, right? So now there's
Yep.
an actual
We talked
real
about
choice.
that. Like literally when the book came
Yeah.
out, we talked about that and said if we move them 20 points in both directions, there's a real choice there. And that's literally exactly what happened. So yeah, I was very happy to see this.
Yeah, I think the Dracothian Guard are there now. They're going to start showing up a little bit more in list. I actually really think Tempestors, one unit, whether two
Sure.
or reinforced, are quite intriguing with how they operate. Where if you just do a damage, you turn off all-out defense for that turn. So that's nice synergy play. And then obviously, yeah. So I think they're interesting. Yeah, man. Like their Stormcasts are an amazing spot still. I'm a little surprised that I thought prosecutors would go up 10. I mean, they're about perfect, but I just thought maybe they might go up 10. So a little surprised by that.
Yep. Roland, in response to my Stormdrake Guard, said not as rough as 660 for 30 wounds. Stares at Varangard. Oh, I think Varangard are well worth their 660. This Varangard we'll talk about when we get to slaves, but at any rate, because they do have a change as well. We'll get there. Overall, I'm excited to see what Stormcast do. I think this was like good changes. A lot of the things I wanted to see happened here. Like this is good. Okay. Sylvaneth. Your Arch Revenant became a bonus hero, and there was much rejoicing. Yay. That dude is one of those bonus heroes that like you wanted to take because he was kind of neat, but like you didn't want to. He wasn't worth a drop, but as a bonus hero, sure, it's fine. He can go in the Spirit of Durthu or the Aurelarial or the Tree Lord Ancients battalion, so that seems fine enough. That's probably enough choices. I haven't built many Sylvaneth lists, so I don't know specifically. Spite Revenant's down 30 points is the big one I wanted to talk about here, Tyler. 30!
Oh, yeah.
Down to
I'm a little
80,
worried.
80 points. Woof.
Yeah.
That's a big move.
Yeah, obviously we're getting into potential spam territory of,
Yep.
60 Spy Revenants showing up at GTs or name
I mean,
remember.
there's still a 20 wound unit at cap, right? So
Yeah.
like with a low save, so that does limit them, admittedly. Like they are the worst type of unit in the game right now, right? Which is a low wound cap, low save foot infantry unit. This is undoubtedly
Right.
the worst functional thing to invest a lot of points into in the game right now, other than just like pointless foot heroes. But
Yeah, to be
so
fair,
it's
dude, a friend of
questionable.
mine made the point, well, how many GT lists do you think we're going to see that are spamming Liberators at 100 points? And I'm like, all right, fair point. I mean, that's right. Liberator 100 for 10 wounds. They do mortal wounds. Spy Revenants do mortal wounds. Spy Revenants a few more attacks, obviously. One more attack specifically. But yeah, just point being, I think that's a reasonable comparison in terms of, or classification,
Right.
that they have similar issues right now in the state of the game.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, they're obviously they got a lot of interesting buffs recently in rules changes. Does Dryka going down 50 make her interesting? Good God. Or like the Ancient going down 40. Like these are big point moves in the heroes, which is, we've seen a lot of that throughout this, right? Like a lot of these heroes that were way overcosted, they're coming down to where they should be. Like, so I I don't know, but I think it's interesting. I've played against Sylvaneth quite a bit. I find them fairly
Hmm.
challenging to play against. I don't know if the spite rev spam would be a thing. Obviously, if it gets cheap enough, quantity does have its own quality. The worst unit in the game is the worst unit type. I'm sorry, in the game, but like spammed out to a
Right.
million can still be highly valuable, right? So that's
I suspect this does put Oakenbrow back on the menu.
just because all
We
the
had
tree lords
seen
went down
just
basically in big ways. Yeah.
yeah, and with the regiment, Prize Beast is a good option, really good
Right.
option here for Sylvaneth, I think.
Yep.
They were already leaning into elite builds with Alariel, Balthanos, etc. I've seen so many Sylvaneth lists at big 2Ks or big GTs at 2K are 15 models, like just very
Yeah. Yeah.
elite. So yeah, I could see that.
Hey, sounds like my kind of Sylvaneth list. That's how
Right.
I've always liked it. Okay.
Yeah.
Beast of Chaos, all moving there, but they got some stuff. I have not played. I have not played beasts in fourth, nor have I played against beasts in fourth. So I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what this means. Is any of this meaningful? I don't know. Somebody who plays beasts will have to tell me. Anyone in the chat who plays beasts, tell me if this was good. Stuart Iron Gutsman, if you're watching this, you know some beast stuff, right? Tell me what's going on there. Help me, Stuart One Kenobi, or I know there's a couple other people out there, a couple other regular folks. Um, Assistant Ref said Beast looks good, only plus 10 points on best scores, and Brave Shaman is less rough than expected, and a bunch of other stuff going down was unexpectedly nice. Okay. Best scores going up matters. 80 best scores was the best army in the game. Wow. Okay, that's a lot of best scores.
Yeah, I was a little surprised it was only plus 10 because
Sure.
definitely they've had the highest win rate post Battlescroll.
Yep.
Now, again, with some asterisk, there's some excellent players, starting with Gavin, as well as Owen, the Nuge, and others who have been playing this army. So yeah, you have the situation, low player rate, and pretty high average elo rating among those players. So yes, but a little surprised.
Justin Brumley said, I just got into AOS from playing Total War, and I'm really sad to see Beast get Legends. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are. I don't think you're alone on that. Like a week or two ago on the show, we said GW should just reverse this decision and they should undo this and say like, never mind, you can play them for all of fourth edition. We're not retiring them. I stand behind that statement. I think that's what they should do. Will they do it? Probably not. But do I think they should do it? Yes. Yes, I do. Fully. So I don't know. Write your Congress people. I don't know what to tell you. See what they have to say about it. Okay. Blah Days of Cahorn. Tyler, there is so much green here. Now, admittedly,
Yeah.
not all of it is hugely meaningful. Like the Korgorath going down, Mighty Skull Crushers down 30. Keep going. We're still not there. Though we did converge on them with my previous example of Hex Wraiths, as we'll see in a little while, which is funny. As they were always the actual mechanical equivalent of Hex Wraiths, but like fantastically more expensive for literally no reason. Blood Crushers going down 20, like great, they still suck. But there is a super meaningful change here. Like that's all the little points. I'm not sure if it actually matters. Here's the stuff that matters. Okay, Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster can now take 0-1 Slaughter Seekers and 0-1 Baleful Lords. Tyler, what's a Baleful Lord? Why, a Baleful Lord is the Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage or the Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury. So the walk gets to take the beer or the buff. There you go. In
Yep.
his regiment. Pretty crazy. And obviously this is a prime candidate for the monster buffer honor guard ability.
Yep.
So pretty meaningful there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of these changes. Because I'm going to start playing Corn. It's whether it's supposed to be or not. Corn's a Johnny Army, so let's go. And I think it's one of those armies that is its win rate is not reflective of its capability. I think it's quite strong in many ways. Nicholas, who won Worlds, he took it to He won Worlds last year. He took it to this year. I mean, I think he finished in the top 25. He struggled a little bit, but yeah, it's a really good army.
Warpstone Enjoyer. Yes, I know Bloodthirsters have fly. That doesn't matter for the monster buffer one. You're thinking of the plus 2-inch move one. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the monster buffer one that lets you ignore the battle damage and gives you +1 to hit. Yeah, I think this is I think it's a good day for Khorne. Again, the most meaningful change is the fact that you can also now Blood Tithe once per phase, not once per turn. So,
Right.
that's a huge change for that army. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might be one of those things that sounds more impactful on paper than it will be in reality. I mean, it certainly means, it's things like, okay, I can auto unbind and I can still murder lust. I can drop a meteor and I
Yeah.
can still murder
It's
lust.
just
Right? It's
options,
things like
right?
that.
Yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be you're exactly correct. You just said it exactly right, which is you can murder lust and do another thing. That's what's going to be
Yes.
happening. What it
Yeah.
really means is just the old that table. It doesn't just say murder lust once a turn, right?
Right.
Which is
Right.
cool. Now, I will say in the world of going higher drops and having two honor guard abilities, there could be play here because you could have your monster buff thing and then also have the plus 2-inch move for your foot heroes. There's plenty of foot heroes, non-fly infantry heroes this could work. And getting your
Mm-hmm.
Skull Reapers moving an extra plus 2 inches or something, that's not bad.
Definitely.
I don't know if you bank on it, but it's certainly not a bad thing. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like Wrathmongers are probably going to see more play at 120. They're intriguing to me. I haven't looked closely enough at Skull Crushers or the Korgorath. Blood Crushers, I played against them a little bit. They're okay. The Skull Taker going down. I mean, Skull Taker is amazing. Speaking of Skull
He's
Reapers.
so amazing. He's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
have you played against him?
Many
it's
times. Many
nuts.
times.
Yeah.
I hate that little dork.
Yes. Yeah, man. He's one of the best at punching above his weight, particularly
He
against
really
enemy
is.
heroes.
The number of times he's just lopped the head off 2 rat ogres, and I'm just sure, okay, yeah, okay, great. That happened. Just
He
flip
can
dead.
obviously, in the whatever the formation, Coordinate Legion, I think is the name of the formation. If he activates, he can then pull in immediately. If he let's say Nagash comes into you, Skull Taker fights first against Nagash. Okay, now Skull Taker immediately pulls in 10 Skull Reapers to fight next before Nagash fights. You can do tricks like that.
Oh yeah, you can do all sorts of. There's all sorts of chain activation shenanigans you can organize to where you can have
Yeah.
3 to. If you get it really perfect, you can get 4 units fighting before anyone else fights. You've really got to. It's got to stars and moons in your
Right.
line, but it can happen. Yeah, yeah. I played
Yeah.
against that army, and it was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good things for Khorne. Disciples, seeing some hits here, and I don't know if it's enough. This is a lot of red, and I've played against Tzeentch a little bit, not a ton. I've gotten in maybe 4 or 5 games in 4.0 against Tzeentch so far, and as well as playing them a couple games. And I mean, there's a lot of things that I think should have happened here, like Kairos and the chicken going up, the changeling going up, all that kind of stuff. That's all correct. Blue horrors going up, all that kind of stuff. But I think what will happen here is they're going to lose a unit. That's real, right? What's going to happen here with Tzeentch is they're going to lose a unit. That's what these points are going to shake out to in the lists that are out there. Will it actually matter? I don't know. I think they'll still be a very high performing army, even down 1 unit. That's my real feeling.
I'm gonna disagree for what it's worth.
Okay.
Take a rare moment to disagree with you.
accept
So
that.
I've played a lot against Tzeentch as well. Now I've not been playing against Caleb Walters
Sure.
or Frederick Schmidt or right, name your now of course, which is part of the point in my mind with Tzeentch, right? Tzeentch, if you look at Warhammer's data on the average ELO rating, Tzeentch has one of the higher ones, and it's tended to be that way, I suspect, historically, right?
Sure.
They do have a pretty good amount of players playing them, but it's a pretty high average ELO. So to me, man, I think this is one of those armies where can be an above average gap in experience and sort of capability between a really experienced player versus an average player, even a little above average player. Like I played against a number of good Zinch players, but they're not Caleb. They're not name your amazing Zinch player.
Sure.
And they have like it's hard, I think, often for people to do well with this army. I played against the Horde list, played against the Zangor heavy list.
Sure.
Tend to think the Zangor heavy list in some ways friendlier to your broader player base than the horror one. But yeah, I don't know. I worry that they may have here personally. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this army was overperforming. I mean, let's be honest. We look at its sort of win rates and stuff like that. But you're right. It also it was like it's sort of the perfect Johnny Spike mix archetype that attracts the very high skill players, right? Because it has both it has the predictability and stability. It reduces out randomness, right? Just very naturally by its sanctioned cheating, as it were, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And so that attracts that type of player who's then going to show up and do very well with it because they know exactly how to use those limited resources to minimize the randomness in the correct way. Like it's a very skill responsive army. So I don't know. I like the I think Cygnus, by the way, said this is why we like Tyler: polite, thoughtful disagreement as opposed to bombastic mic whacking exasperation.
That's funny.
Very nice. I mean, like the reality here is that like it's going to change meaningfully their lists. That much I think we can both say, you know, like without any hesitation, right? Like this is absolutely changing the list. Will it move the win rate? Yeah, probably. I think it'll go down some. I think what we're disagreeing on is how much, right?
Sure.
That's actually the degree.
Yeah. And certainly the Zango direction is much on the table. Like they didn't do much to move the needle on that. In many ways, I mean, the Enlighten on Disc you went down. Skyfire's minimal point increase.
Right.
So yeah, I feel compelled to just get a Team Tom in, or love you Tom if you're listening. He's probably not. Tom doesn't listen to non-Tom shows. We all know that.
Sure.
But yeah.
And Abaddon, I agree.
Right.
He said Zinch has the exact same appeal in AOS as Blue does in MTG. Yes, 100% true. I am with that. All right, He Knights of Slaanesh. Let's talk about the things here that I really like. Okay, Dexessa down 40, Keeper down 20, Sinessa down 50. These are correct things. The Mask down 10. Great, good. She's good. So that's fine. The rest of those things up in the hero section does not freaking matter at all. So who cares? You weren't taking any other crap because it's all garbage anyways. So that's fine. Sigvald, the Prince of Slaanesh, can now join an eligible unit as a Dark Egoist. So here we go. This is what I was so excited when I read that, Tyler. I was like, oh my god, my beautiful boy Sigvald. I can finally take him as a bonus hero. He doesn't have to be a drop because he was always my third drop hero because I'm sorry. I think I painted a nice Sigvald. I like playing with him. I think he's fun. Forgive me for wanting to play with my freaking toys, right? And I was like, finally. And then I looked and I was like, okay, who can take a Dark Egoist? All right. Well, cool. I like taking Keepers. Oh, no, they can't take them. Okay, well, Glutos can. Well, I don't like running Glutos very much. Okay, that's fine. Well, there's got to be somebody else. Oh, the regular Shard Speaker on foot. Well, I'm not taking her. Sigvald himself, great. Okay, what does that matter? He can't take himself. And then Celesk. And that's it. And I was like, so like here is the choke point, right? What I want is my like Shalaxi to be able to take this thing or something, right? Because that's who I want to take as my sort of general and then put her in the unit. So like right away I couldn't build the list I actually wanted, even though he became a bonus hero. Right? That became the choke point. Now, is that like the worst thing in the world? No, it just kind of sucks because it's like, oh, I still can't play with my toys the way I wanted, right? Again, they all fit points-wise. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there was nothing here points-wise that didn't fit. It's just I still have to be 3 drops if I want to take the list I want to take. Right? And it's not like I'm trying to take a powerful list.
Sure, right. Well, that's the thing, dude. You've probably talked about this on chosen. I mean, I've never really sat down to try to look at the ecosystem, all of these regiment option like classifications, and
Yeah.
maybe the TLDR is that there is just no real coherence here to be found from first principles. But I don't know. I'd be curious to like give it a go, and can we find some coherence here?
Oh no, there's definitely no coherency. No, it's just like
Hmm.
because they're so different amongst the different armies. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it only gets farther and farther from any original concept every update, right?
yeah.
As these things move around. Other things that are interesting. I actually don't hate the regular Seeker Chariots going down to 90 points. I think they're perfect. Like that's actually meaningful. I know it's only 10 points, but it does actually end up being meaningful in a couple different lists I built as using them as just two prospectors out on the side.
Mm.
Like chariots are generally completely terrible and they do nothing. I want to be super clear. They're like a horrible unit. I think probably 80 points is the correct amount for a unit that does absolutely nothing. But the fact that you can just put two of them out on the side and they can auto get you your take the flanks and then go claim terrain and stuff is generally fine. Daemonettes at 100 is okay. Again, it's fine ish. Daemonettes are generally crap for all the reasons we talked about. But I do want to like I am gonna build a list around Tyler around like Celeste
Hmm.
and going heavy infantry with the +2 move thing and having
Yeah.
like Sigvald in Celeste's unit so to be the I get to be faster boy because Sigvald's other
Mm.
problem is that they're always slow and go like super heavy daemonettes and like twin souls and stuff like that. Move them, get all that stuff moving faster and see if I can
Because
get anywhere
you're
with it.
because you're still playing the delicate balance game where you get buffs if you have a balance of demons and mortals or something
Yeah,
like that. You still
to
doing that?
sort. It's not exactly the
Uh,
same. Celeste just wants to
okay.
like. It's more that like they can all out attack or all out defense a demon and mortal unit simultaneously,
Mm,
effectively, is how it
got it.
works now.
Okay.
You don't have
Mm,
to like keep them in even balance or anything anymore. So I kind of like to just for funsies, but it doesn't have to be exact. So,
yeah.
but I'm interested
Yeah.
if like can demonettes can I just over again they're a 20 wound cap low save unit. It's exactly everything we've talked about.
Hmm.
It also completely doing this infantry everything dodges the buff we've got to where now the um the what do I want to say the euphoric works
Mm.
on your
Oh,
companions, and
right.
I would be probably taking a list with like no mounts or very few. So I
For
don't know.
sure.
At any
Mm.
rate, yeah, it's interesting. It's I think that like overall it's not a huge switch, but I'm positive about it. The thing I'm most excited for actually is Sinessa and Dexessa, who were like horribly overcosted for what they were. I played them a bunch.
Yeah.
I kept trying to make them work, but my god, were they just like way too many points. This brings
Mm.
them a little closer to where like the two of them are roughly the equivalent of a keeper, which okay, I'll buy that, I suppose. Jacob Brooks with a $2 super chat saying love your videos. Well, hey Jacob Brooks, thank you very much. Appreciate that. But yeah, overall, I'm gonna play some more Slanesh. We'll see what happens if I can. Does this make my melee type builds that I want to play actually work? I don't know. I just know I don't feel like making a shooting army.
Sure.
Nurgle, not that many changes. Pretty minimal
Yeah.
overall.
This one felt pretty disappointing. I'd love to be wrong, but yeah, you're exactly right, man. I mean, Nurgle has been in the dumps, win rate wise, struggling. I've not, I've barely looked at them, have not played them at all. I know some small number of folks have been able to find a way forward with them, but yeah, does this seem like anything of note to you? I know they got that rules tweak to where they're not doing disease to faction terrain or manifestations,
Sure.
which, okay, fair enough. But yeah, it just doesn't seem like this is going to do much. Of course, again, the biggest change is going to be
+2 movement.
the plus two move field sergeant. Yeah, the field
Yep.
sergeant plus two move. Yeah,
I agree. That's actually a huge change. I like a really huge change for them.
yeah.
I because they can very easily take advantage of that. Like very easily take advantage of that. So will that be enough? That and there was also the minor change we'll talk about later, but the change to fleshy abundance as well. So
Flesh abundance. Yeah, and the coherency on the plague drones and
sure.
blight lords. But God, Blight Lords, geez, they needed to go down. Like Stewart showed that they are one of the most, if not the most inefficient cavalry option in the game right now at 250. Like it's a little absurd. So yeah, it seemed like a miss on this one with Nurgle.
Yeah. I imagine what will happen here is we might see them basically stay flat to plus 1%. So we'll see. We'll see. Skaven. Heyo. Yes.
Yeah.
Praise the great horned rat. Here we go, baby. Clawlord down to 80. Wonderful. The Deathmaster down to 120 is hilarious. I still wouldn't take him. He's still overpointed. He should also be 80 points. I'm just gonna say that right now. He does just as little as the Clawlord. He's just as pointless. So there's no material difference between these two dorks. In fact, the Clawlord's arguably better. Critic down 40, huge change, very appropriate. Screech down 20, great. Will also be becoming a double caster, awesome. Corruptor down 30, Warbringer down 30, Vizix Scour down 50, absolutely appropriate. The dude's made of paper, way overcosted at 450. And then the Bombardier and the Engineer, minor points changes, but really the important part now is that the Bombardier, the Engineer, and the Galvanier can all now join as Skaven Overclaws. The council be praised. Your Skaven list doesn't have to automatically be 72 million drops if you don't want it to be. So that's nice. The Skaven list I was building post this change were still 3 drops, honestly.
Okay.
Because, certain things did get skipped here. Like, why are the Warlocks bonus heroes, but like the Master Molder isn't? Like, what's that guy doing? He should be one as well. But nonetheless, it's still a good change. Interesting changes down in here in that we're trying to bring down artillery to make it more appealing. The Plague Claw at 120, Tyler, I'm a buyer.
Okay.
I'm a buyer at 120. You heard it here first. Plague Claws, hot. Hot at 120.
I have not even looked at that war scroll. Is it still anti-horde? Or what's it doing nowadays?
It's better against 10 plus models, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But like it actually has like a really long range. Like really long. And it's fairly accurate to be on 2s and 2s basically. So like and it needs no support. It doesn't need like the engineers and stuff like that. It's great. Brood Terror down 40 points to 260. I played him. We're getting closer. I think he should be probably 240 is actually the correct points value for him. Let me just state that. I'm going to go on record here and just plant a flag and say 240 is the correct points value for this monster. But hey, we're going the right direction. Love seeing the Doom Wheel go down. It's my fun toy. I always take it. Doesn't actually do much, but it's a fun little toy. The Rattling Guns going up plus 20 to 170. Not enough. They should be 190.
All right. I appreciate you. You're a good man. Yes.
They should be 190.
I saw that. I'm like, okay, well, first off, with these other adjustments down, I would guess that the Rattling Guns spam list are not being impacted at all by
it depends. They weren't
20.
really taking a lot of these other units that are going down, honestly. But like, yeah, I agree. They should be 190. They should be the same price as the Scourgers because they're certainly just as valuable as the Scourgers. Okay. So like it's a very simple math here. By the way, I would also then make the Warpfire Throwers go to 150. And the reason I would move these points things up is because if they keep dominating, they're going to break these in some other way.
Right.
Okay. Like they'll stop being able to be reinforced or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going to happen. And so like, I just think the Rattling Guns didn't go up enough and we're still going to see meaningfully just a lot of Rattling Guns, but like, which is a shame. The Warp Blaster down 30 is great. I like that a lot. I actually do like that piece. It's just 180 was way too expensive for it. The Warp Lightning Cannon down at 140, also awesome. So that's very cool.
Yeah, the thing's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to spend points rallying it. Otherwise, it just like shoots twice or maybe. I blew mine up last time in one shot. I did the last time I took one, I did 2 mortal wounds with the shot. And then rolled... in my shot, I rolled 6 ones and then exploded myself first shot.
Amazing.
I was like, oh, that's what you get. That's when you play Skaven.
You deserve. Yep.
Sure. I mean, that's just what you get, right? Storm Vermin down 20 at 120 is meaningless. They're still garbage. So who cares? Like, you still never take them. You're always taking clan rats.
Really?
They're just, yeah, yeah, yes.
There's no like synergies with some of these other pieces, these heroes that have gone down.
Nope. Nope. I mean, yeah,
That's
there's
true, man.
synergy
That's
with Critic,
bad.
but it's terrible because
Uh,
it's a 20 wound, low save unit, cap unit.
right. You're not
Whereas
getting a
I can,
ward.
correct,
Yeah.
I can take, I can get a ward out of
Hmm.
both the, now it's way easier to get a ward out of either, out of the Screaming Bell. Okay, and I'll talk about a list I
Yeah,
play
yeah.
here in just a second. But like a ward over 40 bodies of clan rats is more meaningful, a ward of 6 up, I should
Right.
say, than it is over
Yes.
20 storm vermin. That's it. It's really easy
Yeah.
math. Okay? Like 20 clan rats for 150 is still way better than 10 storm vermin for 120. It's not complicated because they're
Sure.
just warm bodies in the way. And by the way, clan rats are good for about the same amount of damage in non-optimal situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
like,
saw a 4150 list the other week. Just a ton of clan, like, it didn't have the vermin lore thankful that we've had seen quite a bit in these 2x6 rattling guns lists, but it had the 12 rattling guns, ton of bodies, light on heroes, really strong, just like raw efficiency in what it needs to do. What about the Globadiers at 100 now?
I like them at 100. They're very
Yeah.
fun. They're very, very fragile. You have to kind of walk them around and stuff, and they, they don't have a. But notably, because they're
Mm,
still infantry, right? If you're using the +2 move, which by the way you are in Skaven with a lot of lists, like a lot of lists will use that +2 move trick here,
yeah.
okay? Because it's so hugely impactful with 3 claw steps ahead. They actually get a lot more interesting moving 8 than they did at moving 6 to get themselves in range of their shots. So
Mm,
it's meaningful. They're kind of cool. 100 is very cheap. That's what I'll say. Like that does mean something. So overall, I'm really excited about Skaven right now. I built a couple different lists so far. I haven't got to play through all of them yet. Man, there's a lot of lists I want to play now with Skaven with these new points.
yeah. Is it fair to think that it's still a gun line with like is the main play pattern
Yeah, I
changing that
don't see
much?
anything
I
that
would,
until those rattling guns go to 190 or something like that, or get changed in some other
yeah,
meaningful way. And that's why I said you got to preemptively then move the warp fire throwers up to 150 at least, because otherwise
right.
everybody just runs to warp fire throwers. You're operating with a shorter range, but you can still get there with the better move, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I know it's not just gonna like I said, there are heroes that have been getting play, the Deceiver and Thinkwell especially. And
Sure.
yeah, maybe the Vermin King now going up to Wizard 2 will see a little bit more play. But anyway, yeah, it's good to see a lot of point drops. Just need to better balance it. Worried about them missing the mark. So
Agreed.
we'll
I
see.
think a lot of these units are actually now in the right place. We've just got a
Yeah,
few too efficient units that need to get corrected. And then we'll
right.
actually see some really healthy list building with this army. Yeah.
Yeah.
Warpstone Enjoyer says, I refuse to play Rattling Guns. Would rather scoop than pick out 18d6 dice manually. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, I'll be honest with you, Tyler. I've been staying away from Rattling Guns just because, like, one, I'm a hipster with my list building. And
Yeah.
much like you and I both have a similar sensibility that if it's on autopilot, it's not interesting. When it's just
Right.
like, like I want to actually try different stuff and try to, just not use the auto thing. But two, I actually, even myself, like just sort of playing it, I like the experience of some warp fire throwers better for my weapon teams. They're better off turn because they're on a 2
Yeah.
up. You have to play a lot more carefully to keep them in range, but they're at lower points as well. So just like it's 280, that's usually my weapon team when I take a weapon team. And then I'm just like, I'm going to be trying some of the artillery that got a lot cheaper. Seeing, like I said,
Nice.
Plague Claw 120, get ready. Lines of Plague Claws, here they come. Okay. I
I
will
appreciate
be,
it.
God
Yeah,
forbid
go.
you bring infantry armies against me. I am going to bomb you into the non-existence.
Yeah. No, I appreciate his point because having played against the 2x6, functionally, it's just a nightmare. I mean, that was the dumbest experience that I've had in 4.0 playing against that on multiple levels. And that's including, a lot of the nonsense that we hex rate spam and
Yeah,
on and
yeah.
on. Right. It's just, yeah. But anyway, so slaves, I'm guessing
Yeah.
because obviously we just got the book that we're not seeing much adjustment wise. We once again got adjustments down for Dark Oath,
Yep.
so you've got you've got quite a few more points back on Dark Oath. Maybe they're finally at that point now where somebody take a bunch of Dark Oath models and find a way to do well with it. Like you could fit so much. My friend Dan was telling me he got like 160, 80 points back on his list.
Wow. On his all Dark Oath list, I assume,
On his
basically.
Dark Oath list. Yeah, something crazy like that. Yeah. Yeah, just all Dark Oath.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been saying since the beginning, I think Dark Oath has play. It's just been a points issue.
Yeah.
I am legitimately hopeful that this actually does correct the issue and that we see them. Um, yeah, I mean that's basically almost everything that happened here was Dark Oath stuff, right?
Yeah.
Other than the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, which is cool, because he's actually the guy that I take. My S2D list only went down 10
Mm.
points, by the way,
Yeah.
because that was literally the only change in my list. So it's
Yeah.
no big deal. But he was I like that guy because he's the guy I pick who's trying to go on the adventure to become a demon prince.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think he's a solid war scroll at 160 with that profile and yeah, I think he's really interesting and the regiments of the
He's a perfectly fine war scroll. The
perfectly
issue
fine.
with him is he died. Like the issue with him is the same issue with every hero that has to go fight. There's
Yeah.
so few targets you can go fight, right?
Oh,
Because if you
sure.
go fight
Yeah.
any enemy hammer, any portion of that hammer that turns on you just turns you into a red mist instantly, right?
Right. Right.
So it's like, what are we doing here? That's
I've been
the issue.
looking at that regiment of renown, the 10 Chaos Warriors, 5 Chaos Knights, and the Lord of Demonic as a Corn slot in to get to a 9 scroll Highlander. Again, Dan turned me onto that idea. So yeah, I think that ROR is pretty nice with
Absolutely.
plus save and +1 wounds. Yeah.
Yep. Gabester 1999, new to AOS, but how come demon armies can't use demon princes? Well, Gabester, I've got good news for you. In the new Slaves to Darkness battle tome that just came out, there is a regiment of renown that you can take in all the demon armies, that allows you to take a single demon prince, and so you can now include your demon prince in your demon army. So there you go. It's back on the table, baby. It looks like Catharsis and some other people were answering the same thing. So there you go. So check out that Regiment of Renown. Let's see. Yep. Oh yeah. So Varengard up 10. So Tyler, let's talk about the Varengard problem. We mentioned the reinforcement thing that I still think is the
Yeah.
outstanding problem earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me talk about this. So they're at 330 now. 660 for units, 30 wounds, but it obviously kills anything it touches. Anything. Right.
Right.
There's nothing in the game that can stand up to them. Right. To 4 attacks on Wild Rend with crit mortals, 3 damage, doing like 3 mortals on every 6 is just like they splatter anything, especially since they can fight
Outside
twice.
of extreme outliers, -2 attack, outliers, Karasai, etc.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something very very lucky, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
this is it's Drew.
Hmm.
Drew says local man punches out of a tree, ascends to demigodhood. Yes, you got to go fight those trees. Gotta go. You got to send your guy on an adventure to kill faction terrain and stuff like that. Like fight endless spells. Um, at any rate, okay. I have a supposition for you, Tyler. Tell me if you think this is true. Okay.
Hmm.
3 Varengard at 330 might be slightly overcosted. Okay. 3 Varengard at 330. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're getting at. Okay.
But 6 Varengard at 660 is still
Yeah.
too cheap.
Yeah, you may not be wrong.
I think there
It's
is a material efficacy difference. I think they are the poster child of it, right?
right.
Between what a reinforced unit is capable of and what a non-reinforced unit is capable of.
We had a term for this. This has happened obviously various times in the game. We've talked about this. Yeah, with these units, Sentinels, right, were an example of this. Just
Sure.
these threshold units, or yeah, I can't remember what we called them, but absolutely critical mass.
Yeah.
We hit that critical mass, and no, yeah, that generally resonates.
Yep. Like the fact that they have like the because everything is compounding with them, right? When you go to 6 and they have a 3-inch range and they can fight twice, so it's like they hit, they kill, then something 6 inches behind them dies as well, right? And it's like, and it's the being the six of them, the weight of that
Yeah.
creates, right? The fact that all six are going to fight because of the range, because all six are then going to get to go forward and fight again. Whereas with three, it's much harder for them to lift whatever they go into. So the fight
Right.
twice has much less value. Like everything diminishes. You know what I'm saying? Like it really is
Yeah.
this like they have a sum, or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts kind of situation here, right? Where it'd be like for three of them the correct points cost is 300, but for six of them the correct point cost is like 700. You know,
Sure.
something that crazy or whatever, right? Like I'm just
Yeah.
throwing out numbers, but like you get what I'm saying, yeah.
So while
And
we're
by the way,
let's see,
there's many units like this, but I think they're like the,
sure.
if I was gonna just dictionary definition, this is the one.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many things with the hitting power of Vanguard and Chosen that are fighting twice. I mean, we do have some examples, but
Sure.
like people are not up in arms about six recluse. You know, a lot of folks do not even run, right? The means by which to fight twice with six reclusions. It's not a thing for the most part.
Sure.
The Lord Vigilant, Griff. So while we're talking about it, I know we're going long. What would you do to fix this endemic problem in the game?
I have no
And
idea.
again,
I
is
really
it
don't.
just we've
There's
got
probably
to
like
take
20 different
away?
solutions, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
All of them have such huge consequences. I don't know what the
yeah.
answer is.
I mean, like the idea of Rob was talking about this, and I mean, appreciate that he's recognizing this is a problem, and we agree with him. I'm not sure his solution is the right one. Or at least I could be wrong. I thought he was talking. We just fighting twice, two activation. That just needs to go from the game. That seems unnecessary. I mean, you could do that, but
Yeah, that's
you,
just
you
it. There's
clearly,
literally like a dozen solutions on the table, from very targeted and specific, like you remove fight
yeah,
twice capabilities, you strip them of their crit mortals and give them like crit two hits or something instead, or whatever. I don't know. Like there's choices. Like you could do targeted fixes like that, all the way up to like crazy stuff of like you just can't reinforce certain units anymore, right? We just go around and
right.
slap this unit can't be reinforced on like a ton of units, right?
Hmm.
And so like I don't, there's a whole spectrum of stuff in between there, and and all of them have consequences. I don't know what it means. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
um,
but it's hard to avoid thinking it's going to feel like if the best bet to place on the AOS meta is 10 chosen, six like is just going to be 10 chosen, 2 by 10 chosen. Like it's going to be something like it's just going to still be the same damn thing. There have
right.
been some people leaning into Theridans because Theridans are efficacious right now. They're pretty
I love
effective.
Theridans, man. They're so good.
Yeah. So like I would not be surprised if some people lean into that direction, particularly a little more snowflakey folks are like, all right, I still want efficiency, but I'm going to go, 2 by 6 Theridans, whatever. 'Cause, yeah, dude, you get great value with them in this new Slaves book. Just leaning into Theridans, they can benefit from the Gaunt Summoner. They can, I think, benefit. Can they benefit them from the banner? I can't remember if they get the banner.
Yes,
Maybe
they
they
get a
don't.
banner. They do.
They get a
They do.
banner. Okay,
They
so
sure
they can
do.
still get the 3d6
They sure
plus one
can.
attack slash.
Oh,
Yeah,
they can find God. You bet they can,
yeah.
buddy.
So yeah, this is like anyway, the fact like I'm trying to play these reasonable list and these reasonable list, I just find it insane that I struggle with this basic challenge that an experienced player should not struggle with. How
Yeah,
do I survive against a double against this crap? And like it's a legitimately difficult
sure.
challenge. Anyway,
Like you can realistically build a list that is 6 Varangard, 6 Theridons, 10 Chosen.
yeah.
That is an
Yeah.
achievable list. And that is just like the hitting power, right? They like move forward and are just going to blow you up if you do not like, and suddenly, and a bunch of them will suddenly find God and charge 3d6 or get +1 attack or whatever they happen to need at that moment, right? It's scary
Right.
news. So
Yeah, and I know like we haven't so much about manifestations. Manifestations are play right. More and more players. Not many players were leaning into Forbidden Power, for example, early on. Forbidden Power was one of the best options for using manifestations in the way that a lot of us realize you want to use manifestations, which is blocking space, block space, block space. But of course, I mean that's not always going to be a solution. The manifestation may not be there. You may not get. That is one tool, but they're just Yeah, there's actually in some many ways, as we talked a lot about, not that many tools by which, you know, players to hold up against this much hate, which
Yep.
is just insane. Anyway, saying the same crap.
We'll keep moving. All right,
Yep.
FEC, we talked about it already. A lot of positivity here. Points down across the board. Like
Yep.
like every unit, every non-hero unit went down. Everyone, 100% hit rate, right?
Mm.
At the same time, they now got a new ability to actually really build their noble deeds points, and Gormain became a bonus hero, and got the ability to get noble deeds from doing his judgments. FEC is going to be a great day. We can also say here, Nagash 840 in FEC. We're going to see different pointed Nagashes in different lists, which is appropriate. Praise the Lord. So, I suppose praise Nagash. At any rate, I don't have much to say about them other than obviously Adoy. These are very meaningful changes across the board in a lot of very impactful ways, and I think FEC is going to come roaring out of the gate. Simple prediction.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like on the surface, right? They seem like the biggest of this Battlescroll.
Agreed.
There have been some folks, thinking of James West has done well with Fletcher. There have been some good players. I mean, as always, the basic point, good players will find a way to do well with about anything. All else equal, but yes, they needed some help, and boy, did they get a bunch of it.
Yep.
It's pretty wild.
No, we'll do that. We'll do the battle scroll as well. Don't worry, Matthew. We'll get there. So yeah, FEC, looking forward to it. Night Haunt.
Yep.
Look,
had
you
it
were
coming.
Slanesh 2019. You didn't want to accept that you were, but you were.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Night Haunt players. It's cool that the Spirit Torment and the Two Banshee became bonus heroes. Like, that's cool things. I like that. That's good stuff, actually. Those two little dorks. That nobody ever takes, but that's fun, all the same. But just points up everywhere, and Hex Wraith's now up to 200 points. Honestly, we could go higher. I could still do another 20. I could do another 20. I got another rep in me of this plus 20. But at any rate, these are all correct changes. Simple case. But again, the most meaningful change here is actually the Discorporate is now a thing you have to do in your hero phase. So you've got to call your shot in advance.
Yeah. It's still solid. It gives you the ability to still do like an all attack on that unit because you've done Discorporate in the hero phase. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. I think it's still pretty damn good. But yeah, man, like playing against Night Haunt, every single time I've played against that army, they just have too much crap in their list. At minimum, they had one too many. And I don't know what the point adjustments look like, but I would guess.
You're cutting out all over the place there, Tyler.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Say it again.
I think, yeah, I was going to say they lost TLDR. They needed to lose a unit. They lost a unit.
There you go. No, exactly. Good. Yes, I killed him and they deserve to die. All right, so at any rate, good stuff. Play around with it. Maybe turn your gain all the way down. I don't know.
Yeah.
At any rate, Ossiarch Bone Reapers. A little bit of mixed stuff. Arch Cavalos Xantros became a bonus hero, which is cool. Nagash way up. Yeah, I don't remember if is he the most expensive Nagash? I think he is. Okay, yeah, this is the most expensive Nagash at 900. And Catacross up as well. But the Gothzar Harvester down 20. Necropolis Stalkers down 10. Okay. I don't know what to think here. I haven't played OBR in a while. I played him a bunch at the very beginning of the edition, and I wasn't very impressed. I'm not sure what's happening here that's going to make him any better. I guess my question is, have you had much experience with OBR? Or for our audience, do you think anything here is that meaningful? It feels like not that meaningful is my answer.
Yeah, if I'm cutting out, just hold up your hand or something. Apparently, we are going to have to get me another mic. This is ridiculous.
We'll play with your settings afterward. You're a little quieter now. Turn your thing back up a little bit.
How about now?
Hey, there you go. You're back. Good.
Okay. So OBR has been in a very competitive spot. One of the primary builds has been Death Rider spam with Nagash. that definitely took a big hit that it
Sure.
needed. I think generally they're still going to be in a good place. I don't know enough about the Harvester to know if that gets turned on. Yeah, I'm curious if there's any opinions in the comments. But in general, yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be just fine. The the build that needed to get hit got whacked.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the comments agree with you. This might change one of the quadruple Cavalos lists. They busted up the 30 horses plus Catacross list, which was overcooked. Okay, good. Overall, good
Arkin,
changes. Stalkers still need to go down more. Okay.
yeah, Arkin needs. I think he needs to go down a little bit. I he's playable, not a lot, but I think that would make him a little more attractive, get a little more variety going.
Yeah.
Not been seeing him a whole lot, but yeah, they're still in a good place.
By the way, whatever you did with your mic, it sounds really good now, and you're very consistent in your sound. You haven't cut out at all.
Okay, cool.
There you go. See, we just had to fiddle with it. Just fiddle with it. Son.
Yeah.
All right, SBG. I'm gonna let you take the wheel here, Tyler. Points drops all over the board. Our Lord and Savior, Vengorian Lord, down 50-5-0. Luke Avai down 50. Big changes there. And then the White King and the White King and Skeletal Sea both becoming Death Rattle Overseers. Okay, so.
Yeah, quite excellent all around. I think this is definitely going to open up more build variety. Let's start with the obvious, Lauka. I've actually played against Lauka twice now, dude. And, we talked about her out of the gate, that 4-up save on her and the Vengo Lord. It's like, oh, I just don't know if you can get there. Yeah, she's pretty hot still. Obviously, she's not going to like 12 rattling guns or long strikes
Sure.
or whatever, but she's still a nice, the way that I used her and people like Ronya used her. She's a great power pair, Vordry or name your piece, right? Reducing rend, really interesting. So I think she's going to show up. Radikar, really good to see. That's a solid war scroll.
I love Radikar the Beast down 30 to 300. I think that's fantastic. I really like his scroll.
Yeah, the White King is probably more on the table than ever. There's more of a difference now to consider between the White King and Vampire Lord and Necromancer. The fact that it can join Death Rattle Overseer, that right, it can benefit from the Field Sergeant. So you could be
Yep.
Lash of Sire, Graveguard plus 2-inch move on top, or the pieces. I think that's really interesting. White King is excellent with Graveguard, opens up Grave play a little bit more. You can Grave it. Bloodseeker, my friend Dan, I just played against him last Saturday. He ran a Vampire heavy list built around Vordry and Bloodseeker Palanquin. 10 Blood
Mm-hmm.
Knights, 2x3 Bats, 2x8 True Blades, 2x3 Vargeist. That's a scary list. And that list just gained another 100 some points. Plus one attack from the Palanquin, buffing up from Vordry. So yeah, man, I think it's this is really nice, right? Soul Blight, they may have overdone it with a pre-nerf Battlescroll when they were trending downward, but I'm hoping this will get them going in the right direction again. The Vango Lord, I'm still not sold. What do you think about the Vango Lord?
I mean, down 50 is a big points drop. I will say.
It is.
I just don't think it
Yeah.
has a home. Is the issue? It's not a question of
Yeah.
like that scroll or that points. It's a question of the other things you need to take. But we're still in a drop situation, and it's just we're just out of space. That's the problem. There's almost he almost couldn't be printed right now, given what else he's competing against. It's so you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. No,
I
that's
don't
fair.
know the army that takes him. That's the issue. It's not that he's like innately
Right.
bad. It's just there's just almost always 2 to 3 better choices.
Kato's hot. We've talked about him in the past. He's
Yeah.
a really great piece, especially if you want to lean into, well, manifestation play in general, off-turn magical intervention. He's really nice for that with Bacchanal of Blood, +2 to cancel at -1. It makes your fight last more reliable or your -1 damage more reliable when you off-turn magical intervention. You've Kritza. People need to look at Kritza.
Yeah.
My friend
Crits
Paul
at
is doing.
70.
Yeah, my friend Paul is doing cool things with Kritza. And Terror Guys, Zombie Dragon. What do you think? Still too high? Are we getting to the place where they might be worth looking at?
Um,
240, 250?
I think they're just really bad scrolls. Is ultimately what it comes down to. Maybe somebody will prove me wrong. Nagash can
Yeah,
recall it, right? He can like when it dies, he can call it
yeah,
back. But
I think so.
then you're definitely rolling Nagash, and I'm not sure he makes sense in this army most of the time. So I don't know.
There's kind of a weird, like, Lauka, you want to run Lauka with a Terrorgeist or a Zombie Dragon. Well, let's take a Terrorgeist, I think. Whichever one is better against bigger units where you have more opportunity to strike less. I think that's the Terrorgeist. But your Lauka wants to go power pair into heroes and like do mortal wounds to a hero monster or elite units. Whereas again the Terrorgeist. So there's kind of some weird nombos with those two, even though Lauka can give the Terrorgeist Zombie Dragon plus D3 attacks. Obviously, that can be really good on the Fang Maw. Yeah, that's in general. I'm hoping we'll see some people do well, but I don't know if it's quite there yet.
I understand. I agree.
But yeah,
Bobby
very
3000
good
says,
choice.
"Man, I still have no idea what to buy next after just getting the Stormcast Spearhead. So many units. Yeah, well, especially if you're in Stormcast. But don't worry. Go back, watch our Stormcast review. We talked through the book, Bobby. If you check out that show, I think Tyler and I were doing it, and we talked through like what units we think are valid, and you can put that together with like our points conversation earlier and get to some potential next units. There's certainly options. Okay, Destruction, Bone Splitters. Nope.
Yep.
Gloomspite gets there's like changes here, but my honest answer is I don't know how much they matter because we're what, like 2 months from their book,
Sure.
right? So okay.
Yeah.
Things change that I'm not sure actually matter here. Like, yeah, the Mangler Squig coming down 40 is like a lot of points, but Mangler Squigs aren't worth the paper they're printed on, so I don't really know what that means. The Squig herd going up 10 like is a good change. That is correct. They were way too efficient for what you got out of them. I think you could go to 120 honestly, and I feel comfortable with that. But like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like I don't know what to think about these guys. They've been build wise, they're in two completely different places depending on your build, and they have a new book in 2 months potentially. So it's just like, what are we doing
Right.
here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, Iron
Yeah. I
Jaws.
don't really.
Uh, okay, so the Mega Boss became a bonus hero, the Tusk Boss became a bonus hero, and Zogrok Anvil Smasher became a bonus hero, which is great.
Mm,
Gordrak down 50, Mega Boss down 40, right? The Mega Boss on foot
mhm.
down 20. The Maw Grunta Gougers down 10, and the Maw Grunta with Hack and Crew down 20, which is great. He was my favorite one, actually, the Maw Grunta with Hack and Crew.
Mm.
I think he's actually the best one, with his ability. So good, good changes. I did build some Iron Jaws lists. It's still a little frustrating, I will say,
Mm.
to get this working the way I want it to. But it's better now.
What are you trying to do?
Just to get like still the heroes down, because I'm still trying to like operate within the 2-drop paradigm, because there's not really much of a chance for me to capitalize on the two honor
Mm.
guard abilities potentially. Because like the way I was trying to build the list, there wasn't much capability to capitalize on it. But that's not to say you couldn't. I think I just really need to spend more time with list building for something with like 7 units. It shouldn't be that complicated, but trying to
Yeah.
actually like thread the needle here is actually a little tricky. So,
Right.
but these are all positive things here for the point drops. It's a good thing. The problem with this army is it's still, again, it's also on the edge of a book in like a month, right? So who
Sure.
knows what's going to happen? Like it could come out in a month and be just totally different. So I'm excited about this, but
Yeah.
it's probably all going to change before I really get a chance to run them too much. So who knows?
Iron Jaw's another one that I haven't looked at closely enough, dude. But I mean, this could just be anchoring bias talking over the years. Seeing 380 at Gore for Gore track, that seems nuts. That's got to be pretty good. 380 for that dude.
It's
But
okay.
maybe
My
maybe
real
I'm
answer
just
is it's okay.
yeah, I might just be the anchoring was so high over the years that
Yeah.
uh,
You'd be amazed what he'll bounce off of.
yeah.
Ozzy said, "Is it worth running the Ardboy boss to kick back more mortals when charged?" I mean, yeah, that's a valid build. you're like running either a 20 and a 10 or two 20s of Ardboys and then having the big boss kind of anchoring the middle of them as a bonus hero in there, yes, is perfectly valid. It's probably one of the stronger builds of the army, is playing them as a pure attrition army. That being said,
Yeah.
the biggest buff to these guys probably is really, again, +2 move. Like your
Right.
brutes, your Ardboys getting +2 move, your Mega Boss on foot getting +2 move. These are like very meaningful changes on what is a 4-inch move army. Right.
Yep.
Good night. Same with the weird brutes and brute ragers and stuff. All those benefit. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Cruel Boys. Boy, a lot of bonus hero action. Break a boss. Kill a boss on Corpse Ripper Vulture. Kill a boss on Great Nash Chief. Kill a boss with Stabgra. Or sorry, no, he already was. I apologize. The Merc Knob with Belcher Banner and the Snatch a Boss on Sludge Raker Beast all became bonus heroes of one kind or another. Now, it should be noted that the ones who are Swamp Beasts can only get taken by Gobsprak. He's the only one who can take Swamp Beasts. So that's the Break a Boss on Mire Brood, the Kill a Boss on Vulture, and the Kill a Boss on Nashtooth are the only ones that you have to take Gobsprak if you want them as a bonus hero. So you're only going to get one, because there's only one valid hero who can take them. There's only one of these that are ever included as a bonus hero. So this is what I'm talking about. This is really the like thread the needle.
Yeah.
This is the, the thing there, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool says, wake up, honey. It's time for your quarterly Nashtooth point cut. Yeah, indeed. You're not wrong. Again, they'll also be in a new book in like a month, so who knows, right? If their rules change dramatically in some way, a lot of things could change in big ways. So
I
guess
finally
we'll
got a game in against Cruel Boys, and talked with you a little bit about them. Obviously, they were top tables at NashCon.
Yep.
They have looked like one of those armies in the hands of great players who can really do well with them. They can be a little RNG though, and just in the one game playing against them, it seemed very apparent how strong the army could be from the combination of rules, starting with the dirty tricks. My opponent just overcommitted, he overextended, and he got the Vince Venturella round 1 into round 2 double, and he didn't have much left after that. But anyway, yeah, it was really interesting playing against them. And I killed 15 of 20 gut rippers, dude, and 5 of them put 12 mortal wounds on Prime.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's a thing.
Yep.
5.
What can happen. The thing that holds them back, as we've talked about many times, is just they're an RNG army, right? Like sometimes they'll do their tricks and it'll just fail, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll die then. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. It's what happens. So there you go. Ogres. The big change with ogres here is Huskard on Stonehorn, Huskard on Thunder Tusk, and the Icebrow Hunter all became bonus heroes. And then the Frost Lords get to take those guys as bonus heroes. So that's, you get it, the voice of the Everwinter thing there. The Gluttons coming back down. We're easing off some of that plus 30 points. We're back down to 240. I think we go down more. Let's go to 230. Let's just get crazy. Mournfang dropping to 180 is correct direction. I think again we could probably go a little farther. Iron Blaster coming down is fine. I still don't think anybody's taking it, but it's cute. The Gorger Mallpack coming down 20 is also good news. I think that is actually a very viable unit. Going down to 240 is good stuff.
Yeah, it's good unit.
I think as a mixed army, they're probably in a better place. Again, they could very much benefit from the plus 2-inch move thing in a big way. They can have their old hungry or eating back effectively. They could very much have especially if you're doing the Gutbuster side, suddenly going back to moving 8 inches is a big deal. If you're running only Beast Claw, it's cool that you automatically get your mortal wounds now on your charge, and they basically do between like 3 and 6 mortal wounds now or something, or 4 and 6. I'm trying, if you're in the sub faction, I'm trying to remember exactly how it works, but yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, Roland says 4 to 6 if you take sub faction. There you go. I think that's actually the most meaningful change for the army, as now you're just taking your monster trucks and really charging it and hoping to just mortal wound people off the table.
Yeah, that's been the list building that I've seen today. Yeah, a number of Ogres players putting the monster truck list back together, which has been cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a fair amount of excitement from at least the Ogre players that I know of in Missouri, which has been nice to see. So yeah, hopefully this will move the needle meaningfully. God knows they're at the bottom right now.
Yeah, they are, one of the lowest performing armies, maybe the lowest. It depends on which way you look at it. And so like,
Yeah.
they're in a rough place. Again, just like with Ironjaws, these armies that have like no tricks, they're just, very dumb brute force, and very dumb brute force really doesn't work unless you're bringing the dumbest brute force, which is the earlier S2D list we talked about, right? Like,
Right.
these, Ironjaws and Ogres wish they had dumb brute force like they do. Sons of Behemoth, they got some rules changes, which we talked about a little bit earlier, mentioned, like the +1 attack, and they get to always do their mortal wounds in the charge now. It's not a rampage anymore, and stuff like that. The Man Crusher mob and the Man Crusher Gargant went down 30 points, which is meaningful, as now you can have the extra single floater in there depending on your giant construction, which megas you take. So you can, like, in other words, you can take, like, the, you can do, like, mega mob singular. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what we opened up with those points. So, okay.
I mean, again, this is another one where
still a
Suns
bad
players.
army.
Oh, you think so? The Suns players I know, they're pretty hyped with the combination of changes. Like, okay, let's do the Prize Beast on a Gatebreaker. We're
Sure.
getting extra attacks on the +2
100%.
attacks on something, and just these things they felt were pretty additive to the army.
I mean, yes, they're like 100%. Again, their most meaningful change, you're absolutely right, is the new Honor Guard ability, because +1 to hit and ignoring their battle damage is like a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Like a Gatebreaker having +1 to hit on all the time is very meaningful, right? It just is. Will it be enough? I have no idea. Probably not, because it's still just dumb brute force. But like, it's good. It'll change some stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to do all the regiments that much. They did make some changes here to reflect that stuff, like points wise for what's going on. The Saviors of Cinderfall. Well, the only thing we'll mention here is the Saviors of Cinderfall going up 40 points. We finally got them, boys. We got them.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Okay. So that's fine. But I'm not going to dig too deeply into all these because it's really a rabbit hole. We will also be skipping the legend stuff because there's not that many things that change here. Just a few things here or there. Okay. So now let's get into the rules. The rules changes. By the way, if you're still with us, I just want to say, first of all, you're a hero. Hey, say, maybe put something in chat like, I'm still here. Give me a little chat to say you're still here, everybody. Tell us you're still here watching. We appreciate that. Hit like, hit subscribe, do those things. And thank you to everybody who's super chat. Thank you to everybody who's normal chat, who's keeping the conversation going and all of that. Really appreciate it. Everybody's been absolutely fantastic and amazing this show. I want to thank you all for sticking with us. Okay. Through this huge and very impactful Battlescroll. I mean, look, in case you can't tell, Tyler and I's really summary of most of this is we're pretty excited. Look at how many armies I've clicked through that have been like, I'm excited to build lists. Skaven, Ironjaw, Slanesh. All my main forces got really good changes that I am excited to build some lists with, right? So, yeah, all right. Very good. A lot of people still here. 2 cup, Pat Noon says 2 cups of coffee. Absolutely. Woo-woo. Okay. Droog says, I'll have you know I've been very productive and managed to get 3 whole extra detail colors on my Baron Guard. Ben says, I'm a hero, a foot hero, giving +2 inches to move. And Nowowski says, I'm here physically, I don't know about mentally. There you go. A hero, like a non-regimental foot hero? Is this an insult? Absolutely. Okay, very good. So, let's get into the core, or the sort of rules changes. Yep. Is it mandatory for players to set up their faction terrain feature? No. Good. Thank you. I hate them. I hate almost all of them and don't want to set them up, so I was glad to hear this. Great. So if I leave it at home, I'm not cheating. I'm just economizing my case. Big change here. Let's get into this one. This is like now we're in the sauce here, Tyler. I'm not going to read the exact text. The long and short of it is you can't redeploy and counter shoot anymore. And cover fire. That's it.
Excellent.
It is now aligned with you, just like you couldn't redeploy and countercharge, but for some reason you could redeploy and countershoot. Why were these two things different? Who knows?
Yep.
But now they're not. Now they work the same.
Yeah, it was so obnoxious having to take that into account against 6 long strikes doing that, and you're having anyway. Yeah, just obnoxious. Good riddance.
Absolutely. A nothing but positive change. I am completely here for.
Yep.
So good. Okay. All right, there we go. This one's really funny, actually. So this one's worth a little bit of a quick discussion. Can a unit placed on a faction terrain feature be picked as the target of enemy abilities as opposed to the target of attacks? For example, if I were to pick a Shrine Luminor as the target of the Realm Shaper Engine's Power Unleashed ability, could I pick the hero placed on the Shrine Luminor as the target of that ability? Answer, yes. So, because when you're attacking, you have to attack the building, and then the person just pops out the other side unharmed. Basically, I know they actually can take damage or whatever, but they basically pop out unharmed, and then just run away. I love that you can kill them though with non-attack abilities. So I guess just throw all your random BS. Go. That's how we'll knock them out of the shrine.
Yeah.
So that is very funny, I suppose, as an answer to the thing. Weird distinction. Weird distinction.
Corn
But
is
here
very
we go.
happy. Corn is very pleased. Vince, all these wizards hanging out in towers will not save them from his meteors. I love it. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. So absolutely, yeah, just meteoring people out of towers. Gareth Thomas says, long strikes have run and shoot, Tyler. You can still redeploy in covering fire.
Gareth, why are you the way you are?
Yeah, I
He's
just,
not. He's not wrong. Yep, I was hanging out. Ignorance is bliss over here.
sure.
Enjoying my life. And he. Yep. Cool. All right. Let's move on.
You're fine.
Easy
These
to
three were
be
just
depressed.
errata cleanups. There's nothing actually that changed here. They were just fixes to some incorrect text that was wrong in a certain place. That's fine. We'll skip the fire and jade because, again, I don't know enough about the spearhead to know how those impact. We had the season rules we covered already. Here we go. Faction pack stuff. A lot of this we already talked about, but there's little things we haven't touched yet. So obviously we already talked about the big corn one. One blood tithe or usage per phase. Good change. The aspiring Deathbringer was just to clean up a timing issue, which is good. So he can work. I'm not sure it actually matters, but okay. The Fusel Major on Ogre Warhulk is actually a really fun change. Did you catch this one, Tyler? That now when
Yeah.
they marker light people, it's just for all attacks, not just for their shooting
Yeah.
attacks, which is great.
Gave him the Vigilors treatment. Yeah. Really
Absolutely.
nice.
Yep, like that. Cool model too. So I think that thing was already showing up in some lists, so I think that this expands the list it could show up in. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Talia, as you mentioned, yes, change the effective lead from the front to for each target, add 1 to wound rolls for combat attacks made by that unit for the rest of the turn, and has a 5-up ward for the rest of the turn. So, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting thing there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I think there's some play there. The Masters of Destiny, just they added the negative modifiers so they can be modified that way. That's fine. Big FEC change. Here we go. We've talked around it. But yeah, add the following new ability. Once per turn, army your hero phase. Address loyal subjects. Pick a friendly Flesh Eater Quartz hero to use this ability. Roll a dice for each other friendly Flesh Eater Quartz unit wholly within 12 inches of that hero. For each 5-up, give 1 Noble Deeds points to that hero. You might recognize this as an ability they had in 3.0 that went away. It's back now. And so, cool. Good.
Yep. It's big.
Yep, and Gourmet now gets Noble Deeds points when he does his judgments and is a bonus hero. So that's cool. I like that dude. Him as a bonus hero and getting Noble Deeds for doing his judgments. I think he's got gas now
Yeah.
for sure.
Definitely.
Him not being a bonus hero is the only thing holding me back from really liking him. The Loon Boss changed the beginning of the effect of Bite to Moon to add 1 to hit rolls. The Euphoric Killers, the unit's weapons have crit 2 hits, which now includes companion weapons. Designer's note that Sadistic Spite, which is the thing that turns crit 2 hits into crit mortals, does not affect companion weapons, my answer is, why not, you cowards? You absolute cowards. This should absolutely affect companion weapons. My Licky Tongues should have the capability to do crit mortals. Look, if Varangard and Chosen still exist in the game, then my little Licky Tongue morons getting their, 10 damage 1 attacks, being able to do mortals, means nothing. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay? Let me, I already have to give the opponent a benefit, because for no reason I have the only allegiance ability that says, give your opponent an extra allegiance ability to use your allegiance ability. Fun. But no, can't even get that. And it's having to cast a spell. Tyler, how much do you bank on magic as part of your game plan if you're not playing Croak or Techless?
I don't play magic in 4.0.
That's the correct answer. It's the correct answer. Wizards are nonsense. Okay, we pray. All right.
We pray.
That's right.
We pray for a big. You just roll 6s on your Lord or Knight Relictor, and roll another. And get up to 12, get up to 14, get your big blessed weapons, hit your whole arm, +1 attack, have a good time. It's easy.
Easy money. Yeah. I hate magic. I hate spells. I hate the fact that you can easily go multiple turns and not get a spell off. That's just completely normal. It's not like that's unusual. So, whatever. Not even gonna get there. Slaanesh is just a group hug deck, a creepy group hug deck. Yeah, I wish. I could get into that. If I had some Miss Bumbleflower action noops, I'd be here for it. Okay. We mentioned that the Sky Vessel cover ability now subtracts 1 from all hit rolls, for all attacks, I should say, which is great. That's a good thing. The manifestations and faction terrain cannot be given the diseased keyword. Sure. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
The only way that breaks my immersion is when they're attacking trees, Sylvaneth trees.
Right. Yeah.
I know you can't write the rules to be except Sylvaneth trees, but I kind of wish they could.
Sure.
Because you should be able to disease the trees. Trees can get sick. That happens all the time. It's a big problem. Fleshy Abundance is now you can pick one. It's either heal or subtract wound rolls from attacks target that unit. So that's great. And then
that's good. Previously, you had to use the heal. You could not choose to use that. So that is a meaningful change.
It's a good change.
For Nurgle. Yeah.
Again, it's a spell, so it doesn't mean that much, but it's a good change.
Sure. Yeah.
Night Haunt, we already talked about the Discorporate change, which I'm fully and 100% behind. We talked about the +2 to the monster for BCR for their charging. The prayer lore for Everwinter got both their upper levels of their prayers, the Call the Blizzard and the Pulverizing Hailstorm, went from being they were both really weird prayers. I don't know if you had read them, Tyler, but they were both prayers that went 4-10. For no weird reason, right? Because it's almost always double. Sometimes it's less than double. There's 5 8s, right? Which is fine. But then going the opposite direction where they're really widespread sucks. That's a terrible gap, because you just often end up being I guess I'll just wait again. So that's good. Bringing them down to just the nice 4-8. That's okay. That's cool. Thee says, I'm too late to complain about the Arch Warlock still being unable to take his lesser warlocks in a regiment. I agree with that. I didn't mention that either, and I should have, but I'm with you. That is stupid. The Arch Warlock should be able to take the other warlocks. Thank you. Excellent call. Okay. So your Maugrunt Gouges, Gruntas, Hack and Cruise, and blah, blah, blah. Change each time this unit uses a charge ability to each time this unit has charged as a result of using a charge ability. No more just charging nothing to build up momentum points. You have to actually successfully charge stuff. Okay. That's fine. So that's fine. The Gothazar Harvester got a nice wording cleanup there to make it make sense. Make it all make sense. And then in Seraphon, we mentioned the +1 to unbinding rolls for Croak, and the big change there, big change of moving Celestial Deliverance from a 12-inch range to an 18-inch range, which tells me that they understand that the actual difference between a spell being good and a spell being bad is when it has a 12-inch range versus an 18-inch range, and yet they continue to write damaging spells with high casting values at 12-inch ranges. Why do they do this, Tyler? Why? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I can't remember if it used to be the crap D3 or if it was the good D3 originally. But obviously it's a good D3 here, just a straight inflict D3 mortal. That is another area where I would not mind seeing some structural changes. Get lenient, get very free with changing this 3 up or 2 up D3 mortal wounds, right? Just make it
Sure.
a D3 mortal wounds. That gets annoying.
I agree.
Basically
A
reduce the
lot of
crap
things could
D3.
just be doing a D3 mortal wounds rather than the 2-up D3
Yeah,
mortals. Yes, I agree.
that'd be nice for a little bit
Uh,
more change.
let's see. Coherency for Ripperdactyls and Pterodons, which is cool. Giants we talked about, they all get to do their charge thing now, which is fun. So
Yep.
that's cool. All the Stomps got more, and the Beast Smasher Gargant, we got one more attack. One attack, huh? One whole big attack? Oh boy. All right, well that changes everything. The Sylvaneth now within 6 inches for their endless growth. It's within 6 inches of any friendly awakened
Yep.
wildwoods, so you can't stack, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Little clarification on Ella and Total Eclipse. It's just the first command point used by any unit. And I think that's it. That basically brings us to the end.
Nice.
A little bit of a name change there. Am I missing anything? Oh, no, I'm not. Sorry, hold on. The Battletome
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Forgot about
we
the
have
Battletome stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
Battlescroll.
Screech,
Yeah.
we mentioned going to Wizard 2. And then, yes, the Altar of the Great Corruptor, Corrupting Influence went to 13. And the Screaming Bell went to 13. Very meaningful change. Tyler, the second game I played, okay, a very funny situation emerged. So I was playing against Tzeentch with my Skaven. This is a Molder heavy army, but I did take a Bell, okay, because I wanted to try it out
Yep.
with this change. And what ended up happening is we got into this big fight where I had like 3 units in combat with his like 3 units in combat. Okay, something like that. Like the Lord of Change was in there and other stuff. Like there's just stuff in the mix. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what I was fighting, but like stuff was in the mix. There's Zangor in there and stuff like that. So I had the Bell within range, kind of up behind the fight. Not in the fight directly, but kind of behind the fight. And then I had summoned the Bell of Dom. Okay. The Bell of Dom, the manifestation, is a big bubble of -1 to be wounded, right?
Yep. Really good.
And I had the Brood Terror in there, who his rampage is a really strong rampage. He was kind of in the middle, and he on a 2-up gives everybody within 6 inches -1 to hit. So all of Tzeentch was under -2 to hit, -1 to wound. Okay. At the same time, my opponent is playing the Burning subfaction. Okay. So all of my burning all of my people I have that are burning are -1 to wound, and I'm fighting demons, which are near the Lord of Change, so I'm -1 to hit, right?
Wow.
So we were all swinging at each other with like basically constant -1 to hit, -1 to wound. Combat ground to an absolute halt. Okay, like I was still coming out on top just because my units are more damaging, obviously, than like being attacked by pink horrors or blue horrors or anything like that. But then on his turn, he's casting spells much more than I am, right? I can't shut down his spell casting. So he's like absolutely catching up and doing more. He ended up winning that game through attrition, right? Like it was just a grindy thing. We just sat there forever, like not killing anything because everybody's on like 5s and 4s and stuff like that. So it's just the slowest combat in the world.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, just a big pool noodle fight, exactly as Lichfinder said. But the 6-inch war, or the 13-inch move with the 6-up ward was very meaningful. Like it made a big deal.
So remind me, in general, the audience, what are these rules doing? The furnace and the screaming bell
6-up ward.
for both?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So.
Not bad.
No, it's good. The bell is still very frustrating because you're just trying to roll a 2 through 4 every turn. That's it. Right? Like if you roll anything else, you're sad. If you roll the 1, it hurts itself and like whatever. If you roll the 5 or 6, you do damage and it's like doesn't matter. Who cares? With D3 mortal wounds to like potentially to like 2 or 3 units is worth nothing. It's worth literal nothing. I love that they wrote that as the 5 to 6. Like, oh, this is the good one. Like you guys don't understand rules. So no, it's not good, and you should feel bad. Like I understand you want to make it somewhat random. That's fine. Put it back on a bell curve with 2d6. The bell on a bell curve. I mean, come on, guys. Like I don't even.
Yeah.
Sometimes with you guys, I don't even know.
Pretty-
And then yeah, Stormcast. Ionis, hey, he found his chamber. Way to go, Ionis. He's Ruination now. That's great. And
Yeah,
can
I
I?
think you'll see the table more with that change.
Sure. Can I use the Ruination Chamber ability to react to enemy abilities that target a friendly unit with that ability if that ability takes place outside of the regular turn sequence, e.g., a deployment phase ability? Answer: yes. So
Oh,
there you
okay.
go.
Yeah.
Now we're done. There we go. We did it, Tyler. We got through it all. Big one.
Sweet. 11, not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, man, really, really awesome overall. And like you said, just so many armies are going to have more options on the table, more lists that'll be viable. And yeah, we may have some challenges coming out of this because we did get some sizable point drops with some things, but much rather have that than, minimal, meaningless point changes.
Yeah, agreed. We took some big swings here. I want to
Mm.
give them credit. They took some big swings. They tried to put counter pressure on the double turn. They tried to put
Mm-hmm.
counter pressure on the drops. Like we've talked about like these all these things were in my list of fundamental sort of core problems with the play experience right now. And they actually took some big swings on those. Are they going to work? Are they going to fix everything? I don't know, man. But like, I'm not asking for that, right? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
asking for some miracle that fixes everything. I'm asking for you to try. That's what they
right.
did. So I am fully praising that. Like, it was good. They took a lot of meaningful point changes, especially on these big monster things that were just vastly. You could just like, you could look at it and be like, that's way overpriced. We saw a
Sure.
lot of those like 40, 50 point drops, right? That's good stuff. A lot of attention to pay to these other armies that were way at the bottom. Again, is it enough? I don't know, but it's a good start. It's good that they're taking, as you said, like shots on goal, right? You don't
Yeah.
score unless you get shots on goal. So let's go, right? So that's it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've talked about some of the things we think could be ongoing issues. Yeah, I doubt we're gonna see an explosion of MSU anytime soon in the game, which makes my heart sad.
Yeah,
But those are just more fundamental structural things. Yeah, it'd be fun to do a show sometime. Just kind of maybe once we get a little ways into this Battlescroll, do a check-in on the state of the game and how the game's playing, how the game's not playing, just kind of see where we're at.
I agree.
But I'm personally really enjoying 4.0, dude. Like I'm having a blast. Just kind of the Serenity's prayer mindset. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah, like
nearly we're
just
nearly
yeah,
10 years.
exactly.
Yeah,
Accept what I
like
can't change, and like here we
yeah,
agitate for change of what we can, right? So that's what we're doing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and otherwise just have a good time. And there's a lot to love. Expression. A lot of ways to find interesting challenges. So yeah, I think it's in a pretty cool place. So yeah, big win here, I think, for the community with all this. It seems like there's a lot of positivity around it. I haven't seen too much negativity. I mean, X is boy, is that a desert of AOS activity nowadays. I
Sure.
hopped on to Blue Sky.
It's
What's the
where we're
name of it?
talking about it, baby. Jonas, right
Yeah,
over here. But it's my right up top there. It's Warhammer Weekly
yeah,
on both Twitter, X, and Blue Sky. Yep. So
yeah. So saw some good chat going on there, but
right on. Well,
yeah.
hey everybody, listen. Thank you so much for being here. Next week will be our Christmas show because it will be on Christmas. So that's going to happen. I don't know what time that show will be. I can't tell you. What are we going to talk about? I don't know. It'll probably be a like very short but fun holiday themed show. So tune in for that. Thank you all so much. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope you enjoy that. Whatever you're celebrating, or even if nothing, I hope you just have a nice, peaceful, quiet time here at the end of the year. It's been a long year, oftentimes for many of us, a tough year for various and sundry reasons. But the game is always there. This community is always there. It's only stronger every day. So I want to thank you all for watching. It's wonderful to have all of you to share this with every week. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all those things. Tyler, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you coming back on.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for all of these comments complaining about my mic and, getting right in there with Tom. Tom has been, yeah, I'm so looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Did it get better? Hopefully it
Yeah, it
got
got
better.
better. Yeah, it got a lot better. Yes,
That's
whatever
good.
you did got a lot better. Yes,
All right,
100%. So
excellent.
don't touch anything now.
Right.
And for all of you, thank you. Like I said, hit those things that make dings. It's a great way to support the show. But if you want to give us some of your money, hey, we appreciate that. And there's lots of ways you can do it. You need some last minute hobby gifts. There's affiliate links down there. You can use those. Don't cost you anything extra. Often save you money. And they're a great way to give the channel a little bit of a kickback. There's also, of course, the games that Uncle Adam and I create. Maybe you want to get somebody a nice game, a new game for them to try out for Christmas. Hey, our games are all down there. And also, of course, there's our Patreon focused on review and feedback and taking your next step on your hobby journey. But listen, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. And as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.